Call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Here.
Councilmember Hul.
Here.
Councilmember Ionati.
Here.
Councilmember Copley.
Here.
Vice President Brown.
Here.
President Verducci.
Here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In the unlikely event of an emergency, you can go back out the doors you came in the front. And if that entrance exit is blocked, you can go out these side doors here to the exit marked in back. All right. First up on the agenda tonight, we have a public acknowledgement. This is in recognition of American Legacy Homes. We have a proclamation. There you are, sir. Please come on up. Thank you very much. Hello, sir. Good evening. Tonight, for everybody watching, we have a proclamation in recognition of American Legacy Homes. Tonight, we have Nate here representing, and I'll read it as follows. At a Town of Coventry meeting on June 4th, 1835, the town purchased from Jonathan and Pearl Whaley for 12 cents a plot of land upon which the first town meeting house would be built. A large flat stone, known as the Millstone in 1835, marked the southwest corner of the half-acre plot. After nearly 200 years, the stone still stands sentinel over the site where the first town meeting house once stood. The Coventry Historic Preservation Commission, in cooperation with the Coventry Historical Society, which funded the project, had the stone engraved to commemorate the importance of this site. This project would not have been possible without the consent of the current owner-builder of the site upon which a new home is being built. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, John Paul Verducci, Town Council President, affirms that the Coventry Town Council recognize and congratulate American Legacy Homes, LLC, and its principals, Nathan Chatterley and Christopher Fontaine, for embracing our shared history and consenting to turning the historic Millstone into a monument to Coventry's heritage of self-determination and local self-governance. In testimony whereof, and on behalf of the Honorable Town Council, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the town to be affixed this 25th day of August, 2026. Congratulations and thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We all give an arm for this town.
One more.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And it's the kind of stuff that is very wholesome and nice to start off a meeting with. We appreciate you, Nate, and thank you. All right. Next up on tonight's agenda, item 2, public comment on docketed items. This is for anyone in chambers or on Zoom who would like to comment on docketed items. If you would, please raise your hand and come on up. Oh, we got someone outside too who wants to say something. Good evening. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Tom Pendergast, 6 White Rock Road, Coventry, member of the Coventry Conservation Commission. So 2 things that I wanted to bring up on the agenda tonight, very briefly. Sorry, 6C. So you're voting tonight on Miles Provost on his renewal to the Conservation Commission. I just want to reaffirm, I work with Miles on the Conservation Commission. He's a valuable asset for the commission. He works for the DEM, which is a big plus for conservation, and he's also an environmental scientist. And I would strongly recommend that the council approve him for another renewal.
I think we would all enjoy that as well, but we heard tonight he has withdrawn his application. Yes. If you have anybody else over there.
Never mind.
We believe you, though.
We're looking for lots of people now.
Yeah.
So Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, we just heard today, it sounds like. Yeah, we were looking forward to an
That
appointment as
wasn't
well.
that far out of date. If it was
Yeah,
this
yeah.
afternoon.
No,
Okay.
this is
Okay.
breaking news, unfortunately.
Well, let's try this one. Okay.
Okay.
8C. So you have a letter in your packet from the Conservation Commission. I just want to bring two words to your attention and the difference between advisory and advisor. So the town charter currently had the Conservation Commission acting in an advisory capacity to the Planning Commission. In the time that I've been on the council and before, we've never been called on. And I think we talked about that at one of our previous meetings. That's advisory. So it hasn't been utilized. Number two, in the town charter, it says that the Conservation Commission will act as an advisor to the town council and the town manager. That also hasn't gone so well. Some of that I would put squarely on the Conservation Commission by not having those things to look at to advise you on. But we want to be an advisor for both. And when you look at that letter, make sure that you understand the difference between advisory and advisor. Thank you.
I appreciate that and all the work your team does. Please come on up. Good evening, and just state your name and address for the record, please. And you can lower that, yeah. And is the green light on?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Norma Smith, 2386 Victory Highway. I was going to speak after you did the proclamation to American Legacy Homes. I'm the chairperson of the Coventry Historic Heritage Commission, Preservation Commission. The reason why I want to speak is this is important for me because over the years, there's been spurts of development and then it dies off in spurts of development. So we're in a spurt right now. We've lost a lot of historic sites over these years, these decades. And this to me is especially important because a builder has worked with us to preserve the stone. It's the first meeting house. At the same time as Coventry grew, the town clerk's office was moved to Washington Village, which still stands today and is under the care of the Western Rhode Island Civic Historical Society. That was also built in the 1830s. In 1941, the townhouse was moved to what we call the police station today. That was the townhouse, and it was open on the 200th year of our anniversary of the town. Each step of history we take should be recognized and not disappear. I've known of cemeteries that were paved over the decades and built on, and nobody knows where they are anymore. At least now there seems to be an interest in preserving things. I know you can't preserve everything, but some things need to be preserved. And that's what I have to say. And thank you to American Legacy Homes for working with us. To Karen Sprague, the stone carver, and to Paul St. Ahmed, who did a lot of the research to prove that this is the site of the first meeting house in Coventry. Before that, they all met in the taverns. There weren't legitimate places. They all met in the taverns, or before 1741, they went to Warwick, and that was like a distance. So anyway, I just hope it continues with some of the development that's going on in town. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And great point to highlight. You know, we always talk about kind of growing responsibly and wanting to not lose sight of certain things. And this is a great example of cooperation with, you know, some folks that are willing to do that. So thank you for the work you do, and we appreciate it. All right, we are on docketed items. Please come up. You can go next, sir. Oh, no, after you. I'm sorry. No, you were first. I meant after her. I'm sorry. My fault.
Sorry.
No, that's you.
Trish Sorelli, 480 Cahoon Road. I understand that you guys are voting on a temporary fill-in for the council. I also got word that some people are abstaining from this. You are on a council to vote. Please vote. I prefer you vote for Brittany, but if you make a vote, I'll be happy. Brittany is here consistently. She is running, and I think she has a whole lot to offer. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. You, sir, sorry. Good evening, and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Will Dubois. I live at 14 Red Chimney Drive in Lincoln, Rhode Island. And although I'm not a Coventry resident, I'd like to speak in behalf of the application for the live show license for Suzy Q's Summit General, Section V 5B. The reason why I think it's important that we support this is, number one, it's a very historical building, and this is what's keeping the interest in this particular venue. I'm one of the musicians that plays usually once a month there, and we use it as a practice session. We don't get paid, and all our friends and family come and enjoy the facilities. They get ice cream, sandwiches, they sit around, they even set up lawn chairs just to listen to the music, and we do it just for fun. We're not even doing it as a job. It's more a practice session for us. And everyone loves it, and they have a great time, and it ends at 8 o'clock, so it's not like we're going late into the night. But I suggest that you put this application through because it's important to a lot of people. A lot of people depend on this for entertainment and fun and a good night out. So that's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Some other supporters as well. Thank you very much. Next up, anyone in chambers on docketed items? If not, we'll check over on Zoom. Sir, any hands up if you're on Zoom and you want to come in? I see one hand. Looks like we have a Cheryl. Please come off mute and name and address for the record and go ahead.
Yes, hello. Cheryl Kane, 185 Reed Schoolhouse Road. Calling in regards to the kennel license, the kennels tonight. And I want to thank all that is involved for the extensive work they've done on this. But I would like to know if there's possible where the VRC, VMC, GB, BP, and the I-1, if any abutting residential properties are within 600 feet, that is my concern. Could there any possibility be that if they are abutting residential properties, that they have to be 600 feet away from the property line to the kennel or the outdoor enclosure? That's one. That is of main concern. And I know that it did mention that commercial and industrial were the places that most often they allow these type of kennels because of the nuisance they might cause for residential people, that the possibility of either mental issues as PTSD, autism, such. So that was really basically it, but I really thank everyone that worked on these kennels. I think they did a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. I think we'll get into that when it's before us. We'll just make a note to make sure we get clarification on that, Cheryl. So keep watching and we will get to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So the council's clear on what that comment was, what 600 feet in what zones? Do we have a clarification on that? No back and forth. We could just ask.
Cheryl, if you can come back. I told you to stay tuned. I didn't know it'd be this quick, but we just want to clarify the 600-foot question and make sure we clarify it for you.
Yes.
You're wondering if it, just go ahead and say it again.
Okay, if possible, when it comes to the VRC, VMC, GB, BP, and the I-1, if it abuts residential property within 600 feet,
yeah,
that is my issue. So is there a possibility of making the distance be 600 feet away from any of those locations to the property line, from the kennels and the outdoor enclosures? due to mental issues such as, I already mentioned the PTSD and
Gotcha.
all the above.
Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay. Thank you so
We
much.
will address that.
Thank you.
I do see Doug here, so we will, we'll hear it from the dog's mouth later on. Thank you. All right, let's see, public comment again in the room? Anyone else? I don't see any hands on Zoom, so we will move along. Item 3, we have meeting minutes from prior meetings. We have one set of open session minutes. These are from June 23rd.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion, edits, clarifications, or anything? All right, seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? You want to abstain or? Abstain or you want to? Oh, you. Okay. All right, looks like the ayes have it. Motion carries. Moving right along, we have a public hearing up next, item number 4. We've got a couple ordinances here we've heard a little bit about tonight, but first we will take a vote to open public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Public hearing is open. First item up, item A. This is a hearing on ordinance 26-4. This is continued from June 9th. And this is an amendment to our Coventry Code of Ordinances, Chapter 102. This one particularly is 102-2, Operation Near Bathing Areas. Yep, that's right. It's up to you, Director
Okay.
Savigny.
Greetings, everybody. So if we can just go in the Wayback Machine a little bit and give you a little bit of just a bit of history. This was part of 3 ordinances, 2 that you approved. This one was held over. The origin of this was mostly issues taking place at Lake Tioga with jet skis, particularly at Briar Point Beach, docking themselves on either side of the beach and allowing riders to transfer themselves. That issue has, thanks to the Coventry Police, who have done some enforcement over there, that issue has pretty much gone away. We haven't really had any issues over there. You know, whatever the council's pleasure is on this, if it's the council's pleasure to keep the language as is, I think that's perfectly fine. I think through some enforcement, I think that has kind of tamped down the issues that are over there. So I'll leave it to the council to determine their pleasure.
All right. Anybody over here? Questions, comments? All right.
Make a motion to, well, actually can't, we're in public hearing. So I think we just leave it the way it is. DEM enforces this stuff already. This is under their scope. We already have language in our code for this. I don't think we really need to go anywhere else with it.
I agree. You guys did a great job since we all got together to resolve that issue, and I don't see a problem happening. And I'm thankful.
All credit to Coventry Police.
They did
Yeah.
a great job. No,
Yeah.
I agree.
No, I think we all echo those sentiments. It's just something we needed to pay a little more attention to, and
Yeah.
I think we hit it early and often and set the tone. So,
Yep.
Great job by everyone.
Yep.
Just to open it up since we're in public hearing. Anyone else like to make a comment on this topic? All right. I guess that's it for now.
That's it.
Thank you very much, Director.
Thank you.
Do we want to vote on that or just keep going? Is there any actual action here?
Going to end up being passed off the calendar.
Okay.
Hearing, but I'm not hearing any
Yeah.
desire in the council to move forward. So you could close public hearing on that one item and vote on it now to pass it over the
Okay,
calendar.
yeah.
Or you could wait till you finish public hearing on all items and take action.
Pleasure of the council. One at a time or all at once? All right. All right. Heard. Moving on, we will continue on to item B. This is a public hearing on ordinance number 2617. This is continued from June 9th. This is an amendment to our Coventry Code of Ordinances, 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, specifically Article 6, Zoning District Use and Dimensional Regulations, Article 9, Supplementary Regulations, Kennels. We have anybody who'd like to speak about this? Here he is. Oh. We have a, oh, nice to see you. You got some backup too? All right, appreciate that.
Do you want the staff presentation at this point?
Yes, certainly. I know a lot of work went into this. We visited this back in June. I think we had a very good discussion. I think everybody was in general going in the same direction on this one. Just to reset a little bit, we were trying to kind of reset where we were in the code with this. You know, we were trying to come back and codify some of these things in order to, you know, let this stuff progress. So just in case you weren't here for the last one, this has been a work in progress, a big lift on behalf of the planning team, as well as the planning commission. And our animal control unit has a lot of input in this as well. So this is a great example of trying to get this right and going slow and also trying to move the ball here. So Mr. Director, please proceed.
Thank you very much. So that's a great overview. From a code perspective as background, this code of kennels used to be allowed in every zoning district in town through a special use permit, which was basically signified that it needed to go to the zoning board for a case-by-case look for each one. Right now, we have 5 kennels in town, all largely in residential zoning districts. One of those 5 kennels has 1 dog, so it's really just at this point a non-active kennel, but they haven't let go of their license. And Animal Control Officer Lacombe said that there's another kennel that has minimum? 0 dogs. So we have, in the history, we have permitted some of these, but it's not a particularly prevalent use in town. The Animal Control Officer and there had been some interest from some outside parties of just, is this use something that we can achieve? Right now, the use is not allowed. As you may recall, it used to be allowed through a special use permit. State law changed 2 years ago and made special use permits much more permissive. The town's position was every use that we allowed through that, we turned to a not allowed, and we were going to revisit as each use came back. So this was something the animal control officer wanted to know if we could move forward with some allowance for kennels, just to see if there's an interest in what their path would be. We started with the original code was allowed it in all zoning districts, and it encouraged a new regulatory structure on separation distances of kennels and kennel enclosures from nearby properties, particularly if the nearby property was residential. And the feedback we got on that first try was, let's be more conservative than that. Let's restrict it a little more than that. And let's also give better definition around different scales of kennels. So staff developed what's referred to in the packet of information as sub A, which was we broke kennels into, instead of all kennels or any amount of dogs, we said there's small kennels, which is up to 5 dogs. There's medium-sized kennels, which is between 6 to 10 dogs. Then there's large kennels, which is more than 10 dogs. We did this so that we could understand, you know, maybe there's an allowance for up to 5 dogs in different areas, but the big ones we want in our commercial districts or in other zoning districts. So we came up with a approach at the Planning Commission meeting while we reviewed that amended ordinance, which is referred to as sub A. We did receive some public comments. The desire was to be more conservative than that. Planning ended up taking a position of let's not allow kennels. Let's consider an amendment to this again to not allow kennels of any type, whether they be under 5 dogs in any residential zone. Let's just allow them in commercial zones. So that's what you see in sub B. So really you have 3 ordinances in front of you. One is the original, and it's important that's part of the record because that's still really the ordinance that all of these amendments are based upon. You've got, so the original ordinance, sub A, is sort of a moderately more conservative. Sub B is now a much more conservative approach. It doesn't allow kennels in any residential zone, and it only allows them in the commercial. We do have separation distances to residential. The public comment that we just received is 600 feet. We don't have that level of separation distance. So that is something that could still be amended on the floor at the will of the council. If you want to make sub B more restrictive, we certainly could. And that's at the discretion of the council. I think that's enough background for me. I think the next best step is if there's any additional public comments, we could take them. And I'm curious to hear the council's direction if you're looking to be more conservative on this use than how it is framed right now.
No, it's a great summary, Director. I think, most of the feeling was, in general, it's a good idea. We wanted to move forward. As you described it, I think the more conservative approach, because people were getting, and rightly so, concerned with having kennels in a residential area. So just one question for me on that public comment. The different zones that were mentioned there, so as it stands right now with I think it was VRC, VMC, GB, BP, there's no separation requirement right now? And this question was about adding a 600-foot?
There is a separation distance now. And they would only be allowed in resident or in commercial zones. But I think the comment was if there's abutting residential zones,
yeah.
what should happen then? And really, we're talking about the kennel is defined as the area where dogs are kept, whether it's indoor or outdoor. Often, if it's a larger operation, there's going to be an outdoor run. So what we're measuring is the distance from that run or the fenced enclosure to the edge of the property. And the assumption that staff has made is if there's a residential zone or a residential dwelling, and sometimes we have dwellings in commercial zones. It's a non-conforming house that happens to be in our commercial zone. Either one, we set a minimum distance that the kennel run has to be from that property line where it could be built as residential or there is a residential unit. And we had different separation distances, and I'm shooting from the hip at the very moment as I'm looking through the code. Small kennels have no separation distance. That means that if you were in a commercial zone and you wanted to have up to 5 dogs as part of a commercial operation, that you could have those 5 dogs in a commercial zone without any excessive distance to the nearest residential. If you have a medium-sized kennel, which means that you have between 6 to 10 dogs, it would be a 100-foot separation distance to the residential property line. That's not to the house, that's to the edge of the residential property line. If you want a large kennel, which is 11 dogs or more, the separation distance is 150 feet. So I think the commenter was seeking 600 feet. I mean, this is code that we can still amend through discussion at this public hearing. So if the goal is to take those distance numbers and increase them, we certainly can.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because, it would be, somewhat rare, but you could see it happening if you were abutting that commercial, 100 feet or even 150 feet wouldn't be much for a large kennel operation. So it's a little more crystal now as to, now if we don't set something like that and this comes before Planning Commission, you kind of stuck to what we put in here. So you could have somebody abutting that and, it could be a distance of 50 feet for a small kennel, and you'd kind of just have to live with that.
Yeah, so again, I mean, the distances, it depends on the number of dogs. When we broke out the different sizes of kennels, that was a bit at the direction of the council because, a 20 dogs in one location feels a lot different than 5 dogs. When we crafted the code, we actually started to think about if you want 5 dogs or under, we call it a kennel. That the code that we live with in the state and the code that the animal control officer has is that if you want more than 3 dogs in town, if you're just someone that loves dogs, you have 4 dogs, you have 5 dogs because you love them. If you have 3 dogs and your neighbor has 2 and you want to take care of them for a week while they're out of town, technically we're tripping into zoning violation territory. So the code that we wrote, the 5 and under, was really meant to be, in my opinion, less of a commercial operation and more of just an animal enthusiast or someone that helps their friends or neighbors out. But the current position is that that's not going to be allowed in residential. So if you are in a residential zone in Coventry, you would not be allowed more than 3 dogs for any purpose on any piece of property for any given time. And that's the current most restrictive code of sub B, is to not allow that scale of kennel in a residential. The animal control officer does have the ability to sign off on exceptions for a fourth dog. Occasionally, someone moves to town, they have 4 dogs, they found out about this code, they bought a house, they feel stuck, and they can reach out to the animal control officer, explain their situation, show the environment the dogs are kept in, and they can get a 4th dog without a code violation. After the 4th, it's sort of at that point, we're in zoning violation territory. If someone has 3 or 4 dogs and they want to watch their friend's dog for a weekend, we're in zoning violation territory. So it is restrictive, but that's where we're going. And that seems to be the intent of the comments and the intent of the boards on this at this point, is to be restrictive. In my opinion, if that same 5 dogs on a commercial property, I'm not sure if that warrants a big separation distance to nearest residential. If you can open a McDonald's at that site, I don't know if having 5 dogs compares in terms of the level of nuisance and disruption that you would have as a nearby resident. But that's my perspective. When you get to the bigger dog numbers, the medium-sized kennel between 6 to 10, it's up to the will of the council in terms of what you think might be suitable separation distance. Right now, you could, the code proposes a 100-foot separation distance. If you want more than 10 dogs, you want 11 to 20, then the code's suggesting 150 feet. So if we want to increase those, we certainly can. What you're really doing is you're suggesting that a property has to be so big that in any given direction, you would have this many feet. If the number was 600, you would assume that if you have a little kennel in the middle of a property, 600 feet on either side, you're really talking about a 1,200 by 1,200 foot lot in our commercial zones. There's not many of them. So what this would be doing, if we increase the separation distance, it's probably putting in a position where if someone did want to bring an application, they might need a variance, or they just would suggest the code doesn't seem to be allowing the kennel on that particular lot. And that could be the direction of the council, is let's make it more difficult to do kennels in the commercial zones. You should have a big lot, and it should be a lot that you could cite something with 600 feet separation. When planning looks at these issues, we try to look at it within the context of what other land uses do we have that sometimes carry a nuisance, restaurants, fast food restaurants. What are nuisance issues that you wouldn't want to live next to? So we try to have a barometer on how does this fit within that scale of other nuisances. We don't have a use that has a separation distance of up to 600 feet. We have some that have 100. And then we have many uses that are just allowed in commercial districts with just normal setbacks, that there's no extra additional distance. So it's up to the will of the council on this use, how much you believe it is a nuisance, and then how you want to regulate it.
Great explanation. Thank you very much. That really helps. Good perspective. Anyone up here? Councilman Copley.
Yeah, I have an issue with the 5-dog thing on a zoning, getting to that zoning thing, because I think there should be an amendment in there for a temporary stay. For an example, I have 2 dogs. I used to have 3. Say my sister has 2 dogs, okay? She gets sick. She gets in a car accident. She has to go to another state because her in-laws are sick, whatever. I have to take custody of her dogs to take care of them. There should be a temporary variance or relief for people who are in an emergency situation, a 30-day or a 45-day stay, that they can take care of those dogs for a temporary time and not be penalized by the town at all. I think that's pretty fair for a lot of people, because a lot of people have animals. They're part of the family, all right? I mean, you let people have 20 cats. I mean, it's kind of like, so.
Yeah, please.
We do. We give a 30-day. No dog has to be licensed until they've been here for 30 days. So if we go out and the dog's there, if your 5 dogs are there, they could be licensed someplace else, or after 30 days, they need to be licensed in the town. So there is that.
I would push back and say 30 days is you just don't know what the thing is. I would say 45 days, and it should be in the, is it in the ordinance right now
It's in the ordinance that all dogs must be licensed within the town of Coventry within 30 days.
Okay, so that.
So you can stay here for 30 days and not have a dog license in the town.
All right, so I believe that should be changed for a dog that has come in from another family that you're taking care of, that if it's going past the 30 days. Well, I disagree. Sorry.
No problem. It's just very difficult for us to enforce 30
Well,
days.
well, I would say then this. So if someone gets a complaint in, then maybe someone can fill out a form and ask for the 45-day reprieve or something like that to work with you or something.
Yeah, and the code she's referring to is not the code in front of you now. That's like separate animal code within our municipal code that talks about licensing. This code is zoning code, which would make the use of having, up to 5 dogs and regulate that use. Planning staff took the idea that we came up with these differences, up to 5 dogs, between 6 to 10 and 11 to 20, because we felt like the 5 and under dog category felt more to us like an animal enthusiast or someone that's maybe helping friends out for a longer duration. And that's when we looked at that use and thought that was more appropriate in the residential zones. But the current feedback we're getting, and this is based on the public comments we received and the planning commission, was let's not allow kennels of any size in any residential zone. So that we're happy to consider the amendments, but that's where we're at.
Yeah, it just seemed like what you were saying is that this amendment, this new zoning thing kind of bleeds into that other zoning that you have for 5 dogs. It kind of like blends together. So that's why I just want like maybe a little bit more of a separation on these people who might have to take in some other dog or dogs from a family member or a friend for an emergency situation. That's all.
Yeah, I think one follow-up is, while we can't amend that code here, we could bring an amendment to the alternative code that Animal Control Officer Lacombe just referenced. But let's keep in mind, what's in front of us now is really the use itself and which zones the use is allowed in. If we want to, let's say, take the 30 days and make it 60 or 90, that would be a separate piece of code that could come to you.
Yeah, you can definitely see how they're connected, but yeah, we should stay on this one. But I see your point. They do kind of get connected. It is good to hear there's some discretion there, though, and I don't think we're coming from somewhere that was so dysregulated. We don't want to let the perfect be the enemy of the good on this one. We want to kind of get rolling with this, but interesting discussion on that. Councilman Hull?
Good evening. I have a few clarifications on here. There is some things that aren't lining up. Your memo states that regarding daycare kennels, the hours are the same from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., but the dogs must leave the premise. But ordinance sub B text that 3 dogs shall be kept on the property outside of the operating hours.
Tell me which line you're looking at, Councilman, on sub B.
Hold on, let me go back to it. So on your memo dated August 19th, under proposed kennel ordinance,
Yep.
talks about sub B, which has a positive recommendation from the planning committee with commission, which is also another one. Thank you, sir. I also have another follow-up on the sub B. So a couple moments ago, you had stated that the planning commission voted in a positive recommendation for sub B to the council. But according to my notes and what I can find, the planning committee never actually discussed sub B. That was drafted after the July meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Basically, the planning commission reviewed sub A. Sub A was the document we drafted to be more conservative and break kennels into different categories. When the planning commission reviewed that at its hearing, going back to July, there were additional comments that sought to not allow kennels at all in the residential zone.
I remember that.
And then they recommended a positive, assuming that the ordinance was further revised to reflect that removal out of the residential zones. So we created sub B after planning had made its motion. So that's really bringing to you the vision.
Reflecting.
It's reflecting their input, but they never saw sub B.
Thank you for the clarification on that. One more in regards to your fencing standards. Your text states that fencing shall be required for medium, large, and breeding kennels. And sub B makes it mandatory for fencing for medium, large, and breeding kennels. Can we just get clarification there, which one we're following?
I would assume you're saying both require it?
No, your text states the word shall, and sub B makes it mandatory.
I would I would assume that that's the
I
same.
I feel like there's a discrepancy there between hold on, I'll read it exactly to you. It made it, so your draft made it discretionary. It says it may be required. So I didn't write down be required. But if you go back and read your draft memo, it states the words may be required, which makes it optional, makes it discretionary. But sub B makes it mandatory. I'm just trying to see which one we're focused on because your draft memo was after sub B.
The ordinance we're voting on would be the language, and I don't know the line, but I assume if you're reading shall, and that's what the language in the ordinance, then that means it is mandatory. So if my memo used the words maybe, then I think we would defer the ordinance controls.
Line 37, 38.
3738, a stop.
137.
I got you. So the line that you're pointing out, a stockade fence of at least 6 feet in height shall be required along the perimeter of outdoor enclosure for all large and medium kennels and breeding kennels. So the code we'd be voting on mandates a stockade fence.
Thank you for the clarification on that. Is there a process in place to appeal the animal control's discretionary for the allowance of the four dogs?
Repeat the question for a no.
Yeah, I'm just not trying to put you in a tough spot. If someone comes before you and they have 4 dogs and I get approved, but Councilman Pascua gets denied, now we're in this back and forth. I would recommend some sort of an appeal process, maybe before the council, before planning or something where you're just kind of the gatekeeper of it, but there needs to be an appeal process.
About this, you're talking about the 4th dog waiver?
I am, yeah. Just when he mentioned it, I wrote it down in my notes. And I do agree that commercial needs to have no separation, right? If we're talking about the growing of the businesses, if you're in a commercial zone, look, I sell real estate. One thing I tell my clients, if you're buying a house next to a main road, you got to be comfortable with what you're buying next to. So I think if you're in a commercial zone, we need to be encouraging businesses. I don't know any business that could take 5 dogs in and survive. My dog goes to daycare and there's a lot of dogs in there. And then the last thing that I have before we go is I wish we would have broken this down between kennels, breeder, and daycare facilities. I don't support backyard breeding. I think that there's unintended consequences of some of these. This kennel kind of incorporates all of it, and it puts a bad taste against a dog daycare or a breeder. I think we should have separated those because they're different interpretations, in my opinion. They serve different purposes.
Well, we actually did do that. There's 7, believe it or not, 7 categories of kennels that we conceived. Really, let's keep in mind, it all started with one land use, kennels. And it used to be just handled through a special use permit. And then we're currently at a code that breaks it into 7 categories. These are the categories. A small daycare kennel, which means you're allowed up to 5 dogs, but the dogs can't stay overnight. There's a small overnight boarding kennel, which means up to 5 dogs and they can stay overnight. Then medium daycare, which is the 6 to 10 dogs, daycare only. Medium boarding, which means 6 to 10 dogs overnight. Large daycare, up to 20 dogs just during the day. Large boarding kennel, up to 20 dogs with overnight. And then breeding kennel, which specifically we would assume that's the highest, most intensive, because not only do you want a lot of dogs, not only are they going to be there overnight, you're actively breeding and selling. A breeding kennel allows commercial breeding, which is not an activity the others allow. So many of these categories of kennels don't actually allow breeding. They just allow care. And it's a
But
mix.
they also don't restrict to make sure the dog is spayed or neutered. And so unintended consequence is just something I don't think we as a council always think about the unintended consequences. We're looking at what's in front of us, and we can't always control them either. I understand that. But my point was, if you put a bunch of dogs together and the dogs aren't spayed or neutered, what happens, right? You get unintended consequences of now puppies, which that now turns into, maybe we won't call it a breeding facility, but you have more dogs on the open market.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, we would probably say that if someone's engaged in an activity and there's dogs that are pregnant or dogs that are having birth on a property, we would probably say that's a breeding kennel. And if you haven't achieved the property rights or you don't have the distances, we'd say you're now a zoning code violation. This is odd code because it's a land use. We're using land use regulations, but I agree. we're regulating the number of dogs. The number of dogs on any given place could change overnight.
Because the burden of proof is going to be on who to prove. She doesn't have the resources to go out and check, they just don't. So the burden of proof is going to fall on the homeowners in which we're burdening with this as unintended consequence again.
Yeah. I mean, right now, truth be told is like, we don't have a zoning enforcement step that goes into, all businesses on a monthly basis and checks on what they're doing, right? It is true that zoning enforcement is often reactionary. The kennel, we might get a report that suggests the kennel seems to be operating outside of its constraints. And then any complaint we get, we react to, and we would go in and we'd do a review and we'd ask to demonstrate that the business is acting in accordance. If they're supposed to have 10 and under dogs and we count 12, we're going to say that's a zoning violation. It's tricky. I mean, this is, obviously this is one of those things I do kind of feel like we've ended up, what is it? It's like killing a fly with a sledgehammer. We have a highly complex code for a land use that we used to just say it's allowed anywhere you want. You just have to go make a case to the zoning board. Now we have highly complex code in its place. And we're open to any direction the council might have on what they think is suitable.
Councilman Copley.
I do have one more question. So on number 4, it says a stockade fence of at least 6 feet in height may be required along the perimeter of the kennel outdoor enclosure at the discretion of the administrative officer and or the planning commission. So what would be a reason that, because a stockade fence to me is a closed fence, a wooden fence, as far as I know. Why would they be required to get a stockade fence and not a chain link fence or a hog wire fence or something a different kind of fence that could be cheaper for that business or person?
We chose a stockade fence, I think, because it would be opaque for visual impact and it would do some amount of noise control. And you read a line at the discretion, and I think the one you're reading, I don't know if that's the sub A or B. I'm looking at sub B, and that does not have the sentence you read about at the discretion. That one just says there.
This one is number, I think it is under E4.
And can you go to the top of the particular ordinance you're looking at? Does it say sub A or sub B at the top of that particular document?
Let's see. Trying to find it now. I think it's under B. VB, item agenda under the B.
Do you know what line of the ordinance you were referring to?
It would be 94.
Line 94 of sub B looks like it's removed text on my end.
That's the original one, I believe.
Yeah, granted, this is confusing because we are showing you 3 different ordinances.
Okay.
Yeah, just for us up here, sub B starts on page 35 in our pack.
That's why it's all
Page 35 is sub B in our pack.
So, I mean, are you changing that with the new ordinance that's not at the discretion anymore?
Keep in mind, I mean, really, the question is, why do we have 3 ordinances in front of us? One is the original ordinance that was signed, sponsored, and kind of creates the record upon which we're reviewing everything. Sub A, which is basically staff's first attempt at a revision, it's important to see. So you see that in context to what was accepted and adopted as council business. Staff have changed something, and we want you, the council, and the public to see what is it that you changed. So we're showing the original and sub A. The planning commission suggested further edits, which is why we've got sub B. So now it is complex, but that's why you've got 3 ordinances in front of you. One of them is the actual ordinance of record, and the others are just concepts for you to consider as part of this hearing.
Only sub B has the support.
Yeah, and that is true. That sub B is the only one of these 3 ordinances that has a positive recommendation by planning. That is not a requirement, but it is obviously, I think that their support is meaningful to you.
Gotcha. We are in a public hearing. I think I saw some hands before, so if you want to come on up. Yeah. Come on up, name and address for the record, and share your thoughts. Just make sure that green light is on.
Carmen Richardson, 25 Summit. Question, when we spoke about
residential, right? If I own 4 dogs and this goes into effect, are my dogs are gonna be grandfathered in? Or is that gonna be something that I'm gonna have to go against the war or against the group to see what am I gonna do now? Because we talked about, my sister is sick and she has 2 dogs and I'm gonna hold them for 45 days, but what am I gonna do with the dogs that I already own? And they are part of my family now when this ordinance go into place? That was the question.
Do you already have a kennel license? Do you already have a kennel license?
No.
No.
I'm just talking about,
Okay.
if I have, as a homeowner, I have 4 dogs. Now you're saying that I am only allowed to have 3, but I already have my 4 dogs and this goes into effect. Now, what am I gonna do with my 4 dogs?
I think you should
understand that we're
frame this as
gonna put license
hypothetical.
in another one.
So
Yeah.
the answer for you.
This is totally hypothetical. None of
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
is,
this is just a public comment. No, the answer is that anyone in that hypothetical situation should seek the guidance of animal control officers Lacombe and seek a waiver to have the 4th dog. After the 4th dog, a 5th would not be allowed. It's not allowed today. And the new code we're conceiving would also not allow it in residential zones. It would only allow up to more than 4 dogs in commercial zones.
Now, a follow-up to that question is, who is enforcing all this? Because I live in residents that have more than 4 dogs. So now it's to the discretion of my neighbor to call you and say she has 4 dogs. It's to the discretion of everyone to put, so you're putting the public into guardianship of other people's household and how many dogs or pet they own. And that creates frictions, not only on the person, but also their neighbors,
Yeah, no, fair. I mean, to be clear, the code today, it would be a violation, a zoning violation to have more than 3 dogs. If that person can show they've received a waiver from the animal control officer for a 4th, then that's code compliant. But that code exists today. So any neighbor could call the zoning enforcement officer on any other neighbor if they see a 4th or 5th dog. That situation exists today.
But do you think that people actually know this? Or is this, you think that when this comes into place, it's gonna be open a completely different kind of worm?
This is kind of what I was saying at the beginning of this. We went from almost like nothing and no control to kind of what the director was describing as like now we've got 7 categories and people out there, you might call them watchdogs, but people are going to be looking around at this and, counting people's dogs. And we have to remember that this would be treated like any other code violation where, if it's bothersome to somebody around who wants to put in a complaint about it, it then goes through that kind of reactionary process. So, if your 4 dogs are relatively quiet and your neighbors are relatively unbothered, probably won't come to anything. But yeah, certainly.
A larger discussion it's not something that we can just take lightly and go like, oh, this is I think that there has to be some consideration from the board in saying, well, this has happened for so many years. And now that this is in place, this dog have been living in the South for 20 years. What is the consideration for that person? Because the neighbor doesn't like them. That was my concern. Thank you so much.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Oh, good comment. I see a hand in very back and then we'll go to you, sir. Good evening. State your name and address for the record, please.
2980 Flatwood Road. I have no dogs. I just want one question. The town kennel, is that under that ordinance too? It should be. Is the town kennel under that same ordinance? Because we have a town kennel too.
So the question is.
That's the question.
Yeah. So is the town kennel
Should be under,
licensed?
should cover the same thing under the town kennel. It should.
Good one.
Because the people have rights and the town shouldn't override them.
I think the quick answer to that question is the town's kennel, which has been around for how long?
That far back, but.
We can't go that far back, but I mean decades. That's considered grandfathered as with the other 5 kennels that exist
Oh, I
today.
have another. Oh, the other 5
So-
kennels are grandfathered too then?
Every
The ones
existing
that are already in
kennel.
the town?
So let's keep in mind, 2.5 years ago, the town allowed kennels.
Yeah.
And 2.5 years ago, when the state law changed to make special use permits more permissive, we took kennels out. Every kennel that existed at that point in time, 2.5 years ago, was not rendered closed and the business was asked to cease and desist. They're allowed to continue.
Okay, that includes the towns one. I just want to make sure.
Correct.
Because I have no dogs, but I don't like one-sided stuff. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
No, so he has no dog in the fight, but
Wow, JP.
come on. You were next, sir. Please come on up.
That was.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name's Paul Vanass. I live at 292 Black Rock Road in Coventry. I have, I started a rescue, Anchor Paws Rescue. It's a nonprofit 501c3. We're Foster based. Our dogs come in. I've worked with Coventry. I've worked with West Warwick, Providence Animal Control. We've taken them from down the south. All dogs are completely vetted, spayed, neutered, up to date on vaccines, and we use Fosters. But there are times when we're short on Fosters, and I may have 5 dogs at our location. I've been here 7 years in Coventry. We've never had a complaint. They've never had to come to our house. Nobody's ever complained. We have a big piece of property. It's right near her toys. I have a police officer that lives right on the side of me. It's all, you can barely even see our property. So I just wanted to state that there are times where I do have 4, sometimes 5 dogs, but it's not a habit. It's only when we're short, and it's a nonprofit. We make no money at this. It's a labor of love. So I just wanted to get that out there, and we've never had a complaint. We never let the dogs outside by themselves. It's either my wife or myself out there. If they bark once or twice, boom, we're in the house. And I mean, 7 years, we've never had a complaint. So I just want to throw that out there.
No, appreciate it. Good context. Yeah, it's another thing to think of. Did you have something, Councilman Hu?
I did. I am familiar with Anchor Paws. I adopted my dog, and I think one of the things is what we're trying to establish, not from Anchor Paws. I did Road Home Rescue, sorry. One of the things that I want to establish is you're doing what you're doing because of unintended consequences of breeding, or so it's like, where do we find the balance here? Is kind of it just was a perfect timing of, we got both sides of the coin here. There should be a process where this gentleman, he is a nonprofit. He is in my district. I've never received a call of a complaint from anyone about him. He should be able to go and get licensed. So if he runs into that 5th dog issue, there isn't an issue, and he's not feeling like something should be in there. I don't know. We're opening it up, Doug. This is what you wanted. Here we go.
Good.
Vice say this is what I wanted.
Vice President Brown?
Yeah, Director Carroll. So if somebody has 3 dogs and then they take a dog in because somebody's working for the day, now they need a license?
No, so that person, should they be completely knowledgeable of all the town regulations, would then know, I need to go talk to the animal control officer and seek an exception for my 4th dog. The truth is that Animal Control Officer Lacombe does that based on what she finds to be reasonable practice. Animal Control Officer Lacombe could sign an exception to have, 7 dogs. She also doesn't think that that's reasonable. At some point, she doesn't want to take all that discretion and say, I can just accept up to 7 dogs because they told a good story and it feels good. I mean, at some point, a neighbor will say, where did that come from? The code does not direct us to allow that many dogs. So the code, and this is coming from state law to some degree, is that once you get more than 3, there should be a process. We historically did that through our zoning, and so we're now trying to remedy the zoning, but she's just maintained an ability to say, if you ask for a 4th and I understand your situation, I'm willing to hear you out on the 4th. Whether she'd hear someone out on a 5th, she's starting to feel like she's putting her neck out there a bit. That could be things that get handled within other licensing.
State law says more than 3, or is that?
That's the town ordinance.
That's
Town ordinance, sorry.
So with that, I don't even know if small kennels should even exist in the code. I think it should start at medium and go up, my opinion. I mean, you watch someone's dog, someone stops over, there's 4 dogs in your yard or 5 dogs in your yard, now you're going to be subject to animal control coming. I think that's a lot. I think small kennels shouldn't even exist in the code. You start at medium kennels, 6 and up, and that's where you go. My opinion.
If anybody out there wants to agree or disagree on the record? Agree for you? Okay. So we're getting some, I think, a lot of progress, but then also not a lot of progress here because we're kind of conflating a lot of issues that all revolve around it. And I think this is something that everybody can relate to because their dogs, their neighbors, their houses. So, honestly, this has been one of the most robust discussions we've ever had in the council. So did you want to come up again, sir? There you go, Sam.
Just one other quick note. If that was a great proposition you just brought up, it makes it a lot easier. But if someone is given a kennel license per se, and there's 1 complaint, 2 complaints, they're to be investigated. And if they are found in violation, just pull the license. I mean, I think that's more than fair. That's fair on both ends, really, my opinion. Thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah, please go ahead.
I just believe if you have a kennel license, even if it's a small kennel license, it gives the town, we can police that kennel more than you have 4 or 5 or 6 dogs. You're okay. Now, if you have a kennel license, we're looking at you every year. We're doing kennel inspections. We're observing the kennel more than we do is Mr. Hool has 5 dogs. I don't have any authority to go on his property every year to check to see how you're keeping your dogs.
Yeah, so there's a question of overreach here versus, yeah.
Go out to these kennels and
Yeah.
we do check on them and we haven't had any problems with any of them. I just think if you give.
So it's kind of like that they're registered and gives you a tracking mechanism.
Can check on them. We check on the emergency evacuation plan. Now you have 5, 6 dogs. There's a fire at your house. I already have 5 dogs in the pound. Now I'm taking your 5 dogs. I'm overloaded just with 1.
Gotcha. Sorry. Did you want to go first? All
I was
right, go
going to say
ahead,
there's
Councilman.
somebody on Zoom and then Mr. Hool.
Oh, okay.
I'll make mine.
Let's see. Come on in on Zoom. I see a hand raised. It's Margaret Florio. If you could come off mute and name and address for the record, please.
Margaret Florio, 153 Princeton Avenue.
Thank you.
As an animal lover, I need to speak to this. Are the licenses transferable from like one city to another or one town to another?
So there reciprocity in kennel licenses. Not that we know of. No, ma'am.
Okay, so like if I have a dog that's licensed in Coventry and, God forbid something happens to my sister and she has 3 dogs that she's left to me for care, I would have to get them relicensed.
Yes, within 30.
Within 30 days. Yeah, that's sounds like the old high school word problems. Yeah, they're finally coming into play. So yes, we have a dog residency requirements. We have a number issue. So, basically seeming we're drilling into a lot of issues that are all related, but aren't necessarily in tonight's ordinance changes, but are related because if we change this, it'll impact these ancillary issues that, I think, again, very good discussion. Unfortunately, this is just one of the most interesting topics we've had. Sorry, Doug. I know you guys have had a lot of meetings out of this and a lot of input. So if there's anybody else in the room who wants to, otherwise, I think we're still in a public hearing. As far as the council goes, it's your pleasure if we want to move on to the next public hearing thing and then kind of vote on these as they come. Oh, we got another hand? All right. Come on in, Cheryl. Thank you, Doug.
Cheryl Kane, 185 Reed Schoolhouse Road. I spoke earlier and what I would like to do is, first of all, you can't compare 20 dogs barking, yelping to a McDonald's next door in a residential area. Taking care of a dog for your sister because she's sick or ill. Are your neighbors really going to complain about something like that? We do have to get back to love thy neighbor. I mean, if someone is sick for a couple of weeks, I don't think we're going to have an issue with that at all. And I still believe that all licenses should go through the town clerk's office, heard before the town council. And with this license, I believe that town council should limit the amount of kennels. And of course, if we need more in the future, it will go back to the town council. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we certainly wouldn't want to invite neighbor criticism. Councilman Hull?
Just really quick, I hadn't thought of what Vice President Brown had suggested. I also think small government. If I only have 4 dogs, I think you're nice, but I don't want you coming to check on my dogs. They're mine. I don't want you. You don't come check on my 4 kids. I don't need you to check on my 4 dogs. If there's a problem, we get notified. I think at that point we'll be covered by like public nuisance. I'm sure there's other. I understand what you're trying to do. I think we should start at 6, and then we could have eliminated all the other conversation and gave you whatever you need along with enforcement tools.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just going back to, if you have 5 dogs, 4 dogs, we give them we have the same people come to us every year. I have 4 dogs. I check the record. There hasn't been any problem at that property. I give you the waiver for the 4th dog, and it's every year. I just do a quick check. I don't go out to your house if you have 4 dogs. I could care less. But if you have 5 or more dogs and you get a kennel license, and this was something else that I was going to bring up. I know it's not in zoning, but maybe to the town council for approval, is animal control doesn't have a say in if you can have a kennel or not. Nowhere in the process is there anything in writing that says animal control is ever asked? So I wanted to be part of the process so animal control could be asked. And my requirement was to ask for an evacuation plan, because we have had kennels in town where there has been fires and now we're overloaded with dogs. That goes back to letting people have 5 dogs. Like I said, if I have 3 or 4 dogs over there and something happens at your property, I would rather have an emergency evacuation plan so that those dogs can go where you want them to go, opposed to going to the pound now for 30 days. I have no room. I can't take any more animals in.
Yeah, so we need a balance here between, over control and animal welfare. And seems like we're starting to get a general consensus of where that's going. Anybody else on council? Anybody else? Oh, sorry, Councilman Pasqua.
I think that was a great suggestion, medium kennels it up. And I think that's where I would like to see it. I think 4 and 5 dogs, that's probably a common thing when people are watching dogs for family members and so on and so forth. And I think it just is going to put an unnecessary strain on our resources as well. If now it's out there and people are like, well, there's 4 dogs over there on a Tuesday, or there's 5 over there on a Wednesday, you're going to be chasing this all the time, before it's out. So I think it's going to take a little bit off your plate, and I probably not really necessary. What's the difference between 4 and 5 and 6? I mean, I think medium and up is probably where I would sit on that.
All right. Good stuff tonight. All right. So, Mr. Doug,
So I have a suggestion on process steps moving forward. I don't think that it makes sense to on the fly try to amend this ordinance.
I agree.
I think what you need is a companion ordinance to what the animal control officer is mentioning, where in town code we say you can't have more than 3. I think we could send this sub B back to create a sub C. The sub C would just remove small dog kennels from any zoning discussion. And at the same time, we would have a separate ordinance which would amend the animal control code that says you're allowed up to 5 dogs. And we would consider both those 2 things at once. And the rest of the structure that we have would be medium, large kennels, daytime, nighttime, and breeding kennels would all only be allowed in your commercial districts. If I'm reading the council right, that seems to be where there's consensus.
I think you're reading the council and the residents as well. I think the level of dog ownership baseline is probably higher now than it was perhaps when this was first done, whoever knows when, because it just seems like we would be inviting too much government into people's backyards. Councilman Hull.
This is the second time that the animal control officer has asked us to address her ability to enforce. I think that she's in this role for a reason. This council needs to give her the tools to approve. How can she enforce something that she didn't know was there? So, just like these other boards, we have a high level department head who doesn't have the authority to do her job, in my opinion. I'd like to find a way. I would have liked Doug to bring us something, draft something, send us something, what you need. We need to address it.
Yeah, maybe one companion ordinance that.
Maybe D, sub D.
Now that we have all the ancillary ideas, can we do one more kind of comprehensive ordinance change that addresses the basic land use, but, the other related topics?
In terms of what the animal control officer would weigh in on, that's a licensing issue. So that might be the same code that we have that directs how licenses are given, and that's the same code that directs that you can't have more than 3. So it wouldn't be in zoning. I think my question is, we should have a motion to continue this matter to a date certain. However, I want to catch it at a date when at that same date, we would have the separate ordinance ready for you. So I'm going to put Carrie Nardolillo on the spot. Carrie, I hope you've been paying attention the whole time. Carrie, do you know if we had a code change that wasn't zoning, is it 1 week of advertisement? I know for zoning, it's 3 consecutive. It's 1 week. So we'd need to do create the ordinance, do a first reading. After the first reading's done, we send it to the paper. It gets 1 week of advertising, and then we're back in front of the council for a hearing. Could we do it for the 22nd? So I'd suggest maybe the 22nd. That gives everyone a little bit of time because we can't just instantaneously amend the code for what you guys are suggesting on the animal control officer part. So I'd suggest a motion to continue to the 22nd of September.
All right.
Carrie, do you think that if we had something for a first reading, I guess the question is, it has to have a first reading on September 8th.
I need it quick.
You can by next Thursday in 2 days or Thursday of next week? We can do Thursday next week. Yeah, I'm good with that. No, Thursday at 4:29.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is there any harm in doing October? I mean, we've already taken a long time to get here. Let's get it right. Let's keep big government on a leash.
I'm comfortable that we could get this wrapped up. I think the changes that she has in mind, we could do in a day or two. So I think we're going to get it to Carrie before Thursday of next week. And I'm comfortable that we could shoot for the 22nd.
It'd be first reading, it will not be a public hearing.
Correct. Yeah. What we're shooting for is we're continuing this to the 22nd. When I say this, we're continuing the zoning code to the 22nd. The alternative code will be ready for a hearing on the 22nd.
No. Meeting, not be public hearing.
Yeah. First reading on the 8th,
Oh, on the 8th.
public hearing on the 22nd.
It's cutting close, but if they can do it.
All right. I'm out of dog jokes, so I think that's it for this one. So we are looking to make a motion to table to a date certain. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Sorry. Okay. So that's it. That was easy. Public hearing continues. We are on to item C. This is public hearing ordinance 2619. This is continued from June 9th. This is an amendment to our Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances 2008 Part 2 General Legislation, Chapter 255 Supplementary Regulations. This is gas stations.
We're back to gas stations. All right.
Yes, sir.
If you'd like, I could give the council a very brief overview of that matter. And on gas stations, it's a little similar in themes. Gas stations was a use that was previously allowed by special use permit 2.5 years ago. That became more permissive. The town shut down the use. It's always been our intent to bring back that use in the appropriate zones. This one was spurred by some outside action because an outside party did seek a gas station in the business park zone. And as you may recall, at a previous hearing, probably June 9th, we actually heard Walmart, who had a gas station specific request, and we had granted the gas stations to be an allowed use in the business park zone. What was still in debate was whether we should allow gas stations in the general business zone, which is Tioga and Sandy Bottom and Nooseneck Hill Road, and whether we should allow gas stations in the industrial one zone, where we have a range of other intensive industrial uses. Staff felt that there are gas stations in these zones. We felt it was appropriate to consider re-allowing gas stations in those same zones. And we brought forward the code that's in front of you. When we last discussed this in public hearing, there was a lot of discussion on how does Coventry's code match up with the other communities around the state. And what you see in your latest packet of materials is a memo that describes what other communities are doing. And Coventry finds itself in the more conservative threshold. We're not the most conservative state, or we're not the most conservative town in the state on how we do gas stations. That's probably Charlestown. We find ourselves in the more conservative state. I think the provision that's of most interest would be that, again, the separation distance to residential. If you're in the commercial districts, even on Tioga, even in the industrial, there's housing in and around those areas. So if you want to build a new gas station, the gas pumps themselves have to be at least 100 feet separation distance to the nearest property line where it's a residential zone or there's a residential structure on that property. That 100-foot distance is actually what we suggested in June. And what we're just showing you now is that after reviewing 15 other communities' code, that 100-foot distance does make us one of the most conservative in the state. So we haven't changed the code. This doesn't have a sub A. It's just back to you for reconsideration.
Thank you, Doug. Anyone up here? Questions, comments? Right. Public hearing is going now on gas stations. Anyone in the room or on Zoom care to comment on gas stations? All right. And if there's nothing from the council, we can move on. Okay. Thank you, Doug. Seeing none. Wow. I mean, if you average those two together, we're doing pretty good. All right. Moving right along. Yes, every fill up, get a free leash. Public hearing. This one is, let's see, part 2. We're on item D.
So D&E, Mr. President, getting continued to September 22nd. That's the RDA plan and the RDA ordinance.
Oh, that's why I had that date in my head. Okay. So those were tabled earlier to a date certain, which was this date, and we are moving them again to a date certain of September 22nd. Do we need a motion to table those until that date, Mr. Solicitor? No. Okay. That's right. Never mind. All right. Never mind. Thank you. Next up, we have item F. This is a correction on advertising. This is a transfer of a Class B liquor license. This is Flippo's Twisted Pizza on Tioga Avenue. This is going to be from Twisted Pizzeria, Coventry, DBA Twisted Pizza by owner Stephen Filippo, to transfer to NF Argolasti, LLC, DBA Filippo's Twisted Pizza, Coventry. Is anybody here to speak on that topic? All righty. Come on in, name and address for the record, and good evening.
Hi, Nicolette Filippo, 66 Otis Street, Dayville, Connecticut. Just here for a correction on the advertising. There was a mistake on it. It was already granted to us. We've been in business since they gave it to us back last month or the month before. So it's just a transfer from my uncle.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the state reached out to us, said that the advertising had to be done again because there was some
no
incorrect
kidding.
information on the application, so we're just having this again. That's all it is.
All right, I'm skeptical the way tonight's going. This seems pretty straightforward. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And last one, we have public hearing. This was continued from July 8th to tonight's town council meeting on the proposed tax stabilization agreement. This is presented by Star Capital LLC.
So if I can start, Mr. President, I just want to kind of give the public an update progression-wise on how far this proposal has come. We've been working on this, the council's been working on this for several months. This started out as a 20-year TSA. The current request is down to 12 years. The original value of the project for Mr. Eden was $43 million. The current proposal is $85 million, so that's increased tremendously. The per unit value was $125,000. The current proposal is $243,000 per unit. So I think we've made some progress in our discussions over the last several months. Also on the agenda tonight is a resolution for the light at Hopkins Hill Road. Star Capital has agreed to reimburse the town up to $525,000 for that light as part of the TSA. And overall, I think that the council has a lot of information they're going to present again as to the benefits to the town for this TSA. And with that said, I will turn it over to Mr. Eden and his attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. And just to clarify, the topic of the light, does that consider the light itself as well as the rental for a temporary light?
Correct. It's a
Thank
temporary light and the permanent.
Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello again.
Mr. President, hello again. For the record, my name is Kelly Morris Salvatore. Mr. Eden is with me. He's with Star Capital. If you have any questions, as always, he's happy to get up and answer those. We did bring a PowerPoint tonight. Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, that one's perfect. Well, I'm not going to take too much of your time. I think this is the third time we've been before you in a formal manner, but we just thought that providing a PowerPoint presentation with just a summary of what we've been doing would be helpful. So again, thank you for hearing our petition for a tax stabilization agreement for the proposed multifamily development. And just so the public is aware, this is specifically for Assessor's Plat 14, Lot 1, which is off of Arnold Road in center of New England. We certainly appreciate all the time and consideration that you have given us, something that we believe will benefit the town by providing long-term tax revenue, both during the tax stabilization period and then indefinitely in the future. Kyle, next slide, please. So why do we need a tax stabilization agreement? Developing a property like this with multifamily units will cost the developer tens of millions of dollars. So lenders require certain revenue immediately to pay back these loans, even during the early construction phases of development. For the town, this property only generates about $19,000 per year at this time, which would be about $228,000 over the 12-year period that we're proposing. With the TSA in place, the town will collect up to $12.7 million during that same 12-year period, and likely over $2 million annually from the same piece of property that we started with $19,000 a year after the stabilization period ends. That's about $40 million over the next 20 years. When the construction succeeds for the developer, so does the town and its taxpayers. Next slide. So let's talk about Star Capital, who is proposing the tax stabilization agreement. As you have heard from us, Star has made significant contributions to the town of Coventry over the last couple of years. Star has entered into multiple purchase and sales agreements with the court-appointed receiver for several of the center of New England properties, expending already about $4.5 million in deposits, acquisition, legal, civil engineering, environmental, permitting entitlements. Star was also successful in obtaining master plan approval and with the council's approval, a zone change for property located across from center of New England for a mixed-use development that will also be proceeding to preliminary plan in the near future. Notably, Star agreed to commission a comprehensive traffic study for the area, which will assist the town and nearby towns in planning for new development in future years. Specifically back to Center of New England, Star's investment has led to the Center of New England Boulevard repaving and the wetland crossover work, which will serve to connect Hopkins Hill Road, improve emergency access and connectivity, including that traffic light, Mr. President, that you just brought up. In the area of Coventry most appropriate for development, Star is leading the way, having 6 parcels under contract or owned outright, which is expected to be developed for single-family condominiums, apartments, and commercial uses. Next slide, please. And let's talk about this tax stabilization term, because it's important to recognize that we can't put shovels in the ground tomorrow. And the reason for the up to 4-year construction period we want to talk about. We've been at this since early 2024, when the court approved the sale of 125 acres to Star Capital in center of New England. Since then, again, we went through the planning process. We obtained master plan approval for the subject lot, as well as for the 4 sale condominium lots that are adjacent to the Highland condominiums. We've been working on sewer issues, including availability with both the town of Coventry and the town of West Warwick, which manages your wastewater. At this point, we cannot move forward with the preliminary plan design, which includes additional costly engineering, without knowing that we have a tax stabilization agreement in place. Once that engineering is complete, we return to the Planning Commission for the engineering design. We have to get state approvals, which can take almost a year in my experience. Although we don't think it will take a full 4 years, we do need a buffer. But be assured the tax stabilization period, when they start ramping up the tax payments, will start as soon as a certificate of occupancy is issued, which is highly likely less than 4 years. Probably between 2 and 3 would be my guess. Next slide, please. In terms of numbers, we've reviewed tax revenue for multifamily apartments across the state, including Providence, East Providence, North Providence, Cranston, Warwick, West Warwick, and Cumberland. As we've discussed in prior hearings, we're comparing what is the going rate for tax revenue per dwelling unit. We provided you with a list of all of the different apartment projects that we've looked at. We found that there really isn't a good average, but there are apartments that generate very little to communities per dwelling unit. The lowest we found was Kent Farm in East Providence, which on the slide shows you that it's only $1,968 per dwelling unit, to a rather high per dwelling unit rate at $5,361 per unit, and that's University Heights in Providence. What we are proposing at the end of the stabilization period is revenue at $5,610 per unit, so that is higher than the top revenue that we found per dwelling unit. Of course, after the stabilization period, the property is taxed based on the value at the time, whatever your assessor comes up with for the value, multiplied by your then current tax rate. Next slide, please. So to recap, this tax stabilization agreement will bring 350 much-needed housing units, continued infrastructure work at Center of New England, including better public safety with the wetland crossover and access through to Hopkins Hill Road. The town also gets a significant revenue increase both during the stabilization period and beyond, in addition to one-time municipal fees, including for permits, utility connections, etc. It's also important to note that although this is a residential development housing your residents, it is taxed at your commercial rate, which Mr. Pasqua recognized at the last meeting, which is almost double your residential rate, without some of the services provided to residents, including trash pickup, plowing the development, etc. Final slide, please. So we believe that this is an opportunity for the town of Coventry, as we've summarized here, and we respectfully ask for your support of our petition tonight. And if you have any questions, happy to answer them. Mr. Eden is here as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As you said, we've been going at this a while, and we appreciate all the information. Thank you for presenting that tonight. I think everybody is due, as far as the residents concerned, just like you put it out there, what we're giving up, what we're getting. You can look at all of these things kind of in two different lights. One is, what are we losing out on? The other way is, well, what are we not gaining by not doing anything? What does the town have to give up? Yes, there's tax revenue, but there's increased services. So I'm glad kind of everything is out there. It's all very transparent. We've had, as you said, multiple public hearings on this. There's been multiple iterations. Both sides have kind of talked this out in a public manner. And, I think, at this point, we have to say that we're all working as hard as we can on this, trying to do what's best. Obviously, there's a business here that's looking to make money, and obviously the town is looking to grow responsibly. So that's what we're here to do, strike that balance. So appreciate your efforts tonight in summarizing all that. I will open it up to anyone. Councilwoman Ionati.
The only question I have is, like I had before, I just want to reiterate, if you sell the property, I want to make sure that TSA stays exactly as is and isn't able, that they don't have to come back and we don't have to renegotiate a TSA.
That's correct. And in fact, the resolution, well, not the resolution, the agreement says if it's sold to a nonprofit, then it goes away. And if it goes back to the receiver, it goes away. So it's only for Star Development, Star Capital, and their partners. So obviously there's always development partners. It's for the benefit of Tim Eden, his company, and his partners only.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that was locked in. And on the nonprofit side, there's no way to lock a TSA in for a nonprofit?
Well, they wouldn't, when we say nonprofit, we mean an entity that doesn't pay taxes.
Yes, I understand that,
So,
but
so you don't want them to have a TSA because they're not going to pay taxes. So what will happen is, I believe the TSA says it goes retroactively and the taxes have to be paid. So that's a benefit to the town.
okay, I just don't want us to lose town any money with the TSA on sale of the
Right.
property.
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Let's see, Councilman Copley.
I have a question for Councilman Hool on this one. So since he's in the real estate business, Councilman Hool, so if something like this is built and people are looking for housing, like to start their families, are you noticing there's a need for this type of development for people who want to get out of their housing, like an elderly couple that has no children anymore, that everyone's moved on to kind of maybe move out, and a family moving into those starter homes?
I'll be as brief as I can without going, there is no more starter home, right? The starter home market. So yes, there is a need for, I don't want to call them elderly, I call them the downsizing generation. There's a need for them to have housing. The homes that they're in that are 4,000 square feet, even 2,500, they're too large, they're too expensive, they're on fixed incomes. They have enough residual income where they can afford 2,500, but they want to remain independent. So yeah, there is, we got to talk about Quonset Point and the jobs that they're bringing in. Like I have kids out there that are 24 years old, renting apartments at $2,800 a month and paying mortgages at over $3,000 a month. We have, everyone hates building, but the only way to fix this, because I'll tell you, my interest rate's at 3%, we're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So how are we going to balance that? It's some development. So yes, I do think there's a need for this housing. I do think if you open up Facebook or any public forum, everyone's looking for a decent, affordable. And Mr. Eden's kind of fighting himself. He's going to enter a bunch of units into the market, which are just going to balance it a little more. And we're already in a shifting market. So yeah, I do think it's out there.
Thank you.
And Councilman Hool.
And I just want to, for my colleagues up here, we should remind ourselves where we started with this. Thank Ms. Salvador and Mr. Eden we kicked them pretty hard. And we did, and we threw them some curveballs, and they still showed up, and they still wanted to have conversations. We took this from 43 million to 85 million. We took this at $125,000 valuation per unit to 243,000 per unit. Them valuations, guys, is what valuations for condos are on the open market. They're not getting much here. I am very satisfied with this. Like I said, we kicked hard. The art of negotiations is to feel like everyone needs to win, and I do feel like we're winning here. So thank you. I'll probably get crushed for saying thank you, and it's just for being cordial in your negotiations.
Thank you.
Councilman Pasquale.
So Center of New England has been a very big topic for the last 4 years since I started. And, we've been talking about developing it. We've been pushing for the road repaving. We've been pushing for the bridge. The bridge is 30 years past due. We're finally making progress on that stuff. And Star Capital has for sure made some big investments in the town of Coventry. And I agree with sentiments up here that, we've definitely had some hard negotiations in the back room and out here. And I appreciate the commitment to trying to make something work here. I think this is good. I like what I see.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Vice President Brown.
Yeah, just my 2 cents, Kelly, Tim, we did beat you up and we had to. I mean, there's 36,000 residents in this town that we're responsible for, and we got to do what's best for them. I agree with Councilman Hool, Pasqua, and Copley on a lot of things they said. This is needed for the town of Coventry. That piece of property is $19,000, and that's it. We're not going to see it grow if we don't do something with it. Certainly getting that traffic light in, the temporary one in, getting that road open. There's a huge public safety issue down there that needs to be resolved. Hopefully that's going to happen before winter. So we've been told. It's already been delayed a month because of a Providence natural gas line, I guess, that needs to be moved. So I'm hoping that before Thanksgiving that we can open that road. So I see Tim kind of shaking his head a little bit. He's not really smiling tonight. I think he's gonna wait for later, but yeah, he's just waiting. But it's true. We worked really hard with you people, but I think we all see a benefit that you're going to bring to the town of Coventry. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, certainly echo my colleagues' statements. And from a practical perspective, operationally, a lot of folks in town are worried about, services and expenses going up. So, we did this, in that viewpoint of knowing that there is going to be increased responses. There's going to be more kids in schools, and those aren't necessarily bad things because we will counter that with the revenue. But we did this through the lens of knowing that this is not some windfall of money. It's a mutual kind of venture in that, we're given an agreement in theory to let you get started and grow us in a responsible way in a place that hasn't really had anything. So as opposed to a lot of the more contentious developments where people seem to be kind of putting things on top of other things, for this one, it just made a little bit more sense. And I think another important thing, and Councilman Pasqua said it, you mentioned it, we keep saying how badly we need commercial development. This is in fact commercial development. So, and hopefully this will bring more commercial development in the traditional sense.
If you
So
build it, they will come.
you would hope so, but perhaps there's an opportunity for dog kennels there,
Yeah.
gas stations.
You had to go.
I had to. Yeah, I can't. Gas station. But seriously, that's it is. I just don't want anybody to get the impression that we took this lightly as a great windfall and we want to spend this money and everything else. We know there is the other side of this coin. So that's why we fought so hard. And also not to be forgotten is this isn't coming with infrastructure issues. You highlighted that as well, but I'll reiterate it for the people. watching that this is not something that's going to go on our backs as far as infrastructure and roads and trash pickup and things like that. There's also other infrastructure that's going to be brought in to support these services. It's going to help build out our sewer systems, and so all of these things were taken into consideration. So it's not as fun to talk about as other things, but this is the real meat and potatoes of what we're looking at here. So we really did take a holistic view at this. So with that, anyone else? All right, thank you very much. All right. Anyone on the public hearing, public comment? In the room, on Zoom? All right. We will take a motion to close public comment.
I'll make a motion. to
I'm
close
sorry, public hearing.
Hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. What's that?
I think we should clap.
Yeah, we haven't done anything yet. All right, so now we have those public hearing items that we're going to vote on one at a time. Councilman Pasqua.
Make a motion to move 2026-4 off the calendar.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on the bathing areas public hearing? All right, seeing none. All those in favor of moving off the calendar?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. So moved. Item B, we have,
Make a motion to table this to the September 22nd meeting.
September 8th for the first reading.
This is gonna have to be both the public hearing as well as the action item.
So I will make a motion to continue public hearing of ordinance number 2026-17 to September 22nd, 2026, along with ordinance, we already said it, 2026-17.
I second.
motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item C,
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-19.
Second.
we have motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Items D and E have been moved, but do we need a motion to continue? Yes, sir.
Insert
All right.
to September 22nd, please.
Can I make a motion to take D and E as a block?
I think so.
Second.
Motion and a second to move items D and E as a block. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries on items D and E.
I make a motion to move items D and E public hearing to the September 22nd, 2026 meeting.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. The item's moved. Item F, public hearing, correction on advertising. Councilman Pasqua?
Make a motion to approve the transfer of the liquor license for Filippo's Twisted Pizza. Pronunciation, let's see.
Second.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Second. From Stephen Filippo to transfer to NFF. Yeah, Alagassi LLC DPA Filippo's Pizza. I have no idea.
Councilman Pasqua. Second from Vice President Brown. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item G.
I make a motion to approve the tax stabilization agreement for Star Capital. Tax stabilization agreement 8-12-26. Oh, yeah,
It's in section, it's an action item in section 9B. Close the public hearing on that. I believe the action item is in 9B.
So we will wait until we're on item 9B. Yeah. That concludes the voting on the public hearing. And I think we closed the public hearing except for the one item.
Hey, we can't approve the TSA?
I think we can. I thought the resolution to prove the TSAs in 9B.
Yeah, but the TSA itself is separate, right here.
Then I'd move it to item 9B.
All right, well, want to vote to take it out of order and move to that item now while we're on it? All right, let's entertain a motion to take the agenda out of order.
Make a motion, we take the agenda out of order.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. We are taking the agenda out of order. We are moving to item 9B. We are doing this to address the public hearing under item G we just had. And we were on item 9B. This is a resolution 2026-77 for the approval of a tax stabilization agreement for property identified as Assessor's Plat 14, Lot 1.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-77.
Of a motion from Councilman Hull, second from Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Yeah, yeah, not yet, not till that, we're running down that road.
That items. Just to confirm, move the item that's, was it 6? G?
Oh, we'll move now back onto item 6G.
Mr. President, if you would, I'd like to make a motion to combine 6G, the public hearing for the tax stabilization agreement, along with resolution 2026-77, which is 9B as in boy.
I have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Combine them.
To combine them. Okay, I gotcha.
Mr. Iglesias.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve those combined motions.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Combined matters.
So we had a motion to move those combined matters. We have a second from Vice President Brown. Any more discussion on that? All right, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motions carry. All right. Let's see. We are out of order, so anybody have a suggestion for next? Is there anybody who want to do some licenses? Yeah, let's move to item 5. Applications, we're on, item 5A, application for exhibitions and performances license and new Class F liquor license. This is Brookdale, Center of New England, for an event on September 17th, 2026, 6 to 8. Anyone here to, oh, hello. Please come on in and introduce yourself and name and address for the record.
Rachel Tucson for Nicole Lane,
Go ahead.
and just approval for those licensures.
Sounds good.
That's it.
No, I'm glad you waited for this. All right. Anyone? We got it.
The license.
We have a motion from Vice President Brown, second from Councilwoman Ionati. Any discussion?
Just, what are you doing there? What is it?
We are having an outdoor concert 6 to 8 p.m. for the public, but mostly our residents, staff, families.
Fun.
We will have food trucks and a bar as well.
It's good to me.
Join us.
Yeah.
Illusions. Three-piece band.
Nice. Right. Sounds good to us. All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you for sticking around. Item B under number 5. This is the live show license, Suzy Q's Summit General, 25 Old Summit Road.
Make a motion to approve the license.
Oh, hey, you sure? You said enough tonight? Yeah, come on up. Yeah, just make sure it's on green.
I want to thank my neighbors for coming here to support me, first of all. And my question is, who let the dogs out?
I was trying so hard not to say that one. Rough. That's rough. There you go. I had it in the chamber, but I didn't. No, thank you. That was worth it. Thank you for coming up. All right. No choice to approve this now. Let's see. Item B, do we have a motion? Motion from Vice President Brown, second
Second.
by Councilwoman Ionati, Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion?
I just want to thank Susie Hughes. She's done a lot. It's not my district, but I do follow her on Facebook. She's done a lot out there. So thank you. It's nice to see. Keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you very much. On to item C, we have an application for a private detective license. Oh, I think it was you who let the dogs out. Look at them all go. Hello.
Andrew Franco, 9 Hornbeam Road. I'm just requesting council to approve my application for the private detective.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion from Vice President Brown, second Councilwoman Ionati. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Good luck out there. Oh, private eyes. Boy, you're getting bad. All right, we've got one more license. This is an application for fireworks license by American Fireworks, John Giusti, to be located 47 Indian Trail. Coventry, this is Monday. This is for September 6th with a rain date of September 7th, 2026. Anyone here on behalf of this one? All right. What's that? We have a motion to approve, Councilwoman Ionati.
I second.
We have double seconds from Councilman Hool and Pasqua. Wants to be invited. Good luck. Any discussion? I never get one. No. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. We won't see you there. We weren't invited. All right. We want to do resolutions or anyone? Good. Okay. Item 6. Item 6 is election and appointment of town official. First up is town council appointments. You know, as with any appointments and volunteer positions like we all are doing here, we always, you know, really respectfully thank everybody for their interest. It's a lot of time and a lot of effort. And, you know, I just want to say thank you for that. Number 2 on this is we've seen a lot of times around here where, you know, it's awfully tough to get people. And I think, you know, no matter what happens with this, it's a positive reflection on getting more involved in town affairs. So I'd like to thank everybody for that. The fact that we have 4 people for an appointment and an election that's actually going to be a contested election, all good things for us as a community. So thank you all for that. First off, just to quickly explain the charter provision. I know a lot of us, or actually all of us, received a lot of emails, a lot of feedback on this. Again, appreciate the engagement. As far as our charter provides, despite the impending election and the relatively short time frame, we are mandated to appoint someone to the open seat that was vacated last month. We have to do that within 45 days, so that is why this is on tonight's agenda. As far as the process for tonight, this is kind of something we worked out as far as parliamentary procedure basically controls this. There is some charter involvement as well, but just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. First, we will take nominations. In order to move on, someone needs to be nominated and seconded. After that, we will have a pool of candidates, I believe, to hear from. I'm sorry, not to hear from, but to appoint themselves. We'll do a roll call vote to decide on anybody who's in that pool of candidates, someone who's been nominated and seconded. We'll go down the line and do a roll call vote. Anyone who gets the 4 votes wins the appointment. There is 6 of us, so in the event nobody gets the 4 votes, this topic will be continued and considered open for reconsideration, should that happen. So just wanted to outline all the rules. Do we need the council to vote on that process to make sure we are good with that?
I would suggest that that set of rules for this process could be voted on by the council, so there's no confusion on how you're going to proceed.
Okay.
Make that motion to adopt those rules for this council meeting in this particular process.
I second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion from Councilman Pasqua, second from Councilman Copley. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. So now we have our process outlined. Next up is to hear from the candidates. Let's try to give, obviously we've had a lot of great discussion tonight already, so maybe keep it to 3-4 minutes to give your general, introduction overview and tell us a little bit about yourselves, why you're interested in the position, what you would hope to accomplish in the position, and so on. I think we should probably go in order of the agenda. So that would be Brittany Boyer first, if you want to come up. And we'll just have everybody go one by one, and then we'll do our process. So welcome and thank you.
Hi, I have a copy of my packet for everyone. Do you guys need a copy? All good? Okay. I'm here tonight asking to be appointed to the District 2 seat because I believe I can bring a fresh perspective, an open mind, and a willingness to listen and learn from others. I'm not afraid to ask questions, seek answers, and take the time to understand the issues before making decisions. Most importantly, I will always have one priority, and that's putting the residents of Coventry first. I've been visible, involved, and vocal in this community long before there was a vacant seat because I genuinely care about the direction that our town is headed. I live here, I work here, I pay taxes here, and I have children in our schools. I am vested in this community, and I have a personal stake in making sure Coventry continues to be a town my children are proud to call home. Tonight, the council could potentially appoint someone to temporarily fill this seat for the remainder of the term. And the more I've thought about that possibility, the more concerned I've become about the issue of accountability. A temporary placeholder could be put in a position to make important decisions and vote on issues that could have a lasting impact on our town without ever having to answer to those decisions. That is not meant as a criticism to any individual who might be considered. It's about the principle of accountability. There is a level of responsibility that comes with knowing you'll have to answer to the people that you represent long-term. I believe District 2 deserves someone who is prepared to take on that responsibility, not simply occupy the seat, but genuinely serve the residents and be accountable to them. I want to help build a town where residents feel heard, represented, respected, and where their concerns don't just get acknowledged, they actually get listened to. I understand that serving on the town council means listening to everyone, considering different perspectives, asking difficult questions when necessary, and making decisions that are in the best interest of the entire community. I've said from the beginning, I will ask myself 2 questions before I do anything. Is this good for the town, and is this good for the residents? I would be honored to have the opportunity to serve District 2 and the entire town of Coventry, and I would take that very seriously. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much.
Do you guys have any questions for me?
You want to do questions in the moment or after? Or pleasure of the council. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was feeling. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, all right. Yes, we will call you back up for questions to answer that. In the meantime, can we check our connection? We're getting some kind of a issue online on the Zoom. Please hold.
Do you want to wait till we get a
Yeah, I
confirmation
do,
that,
yeah.
okay.
Just want to confirm that feed is working. I'm good. All right. Good evening. Please proceed.
Uh, Just remember, my voice might be a little off today. I didn't come up with a prepared speech to say to anybody. You've heard me speak passionate about some things and a lot about the charter. The reason that we're here tonight is because of a charter change that was thrown in last minute by the former council president and did not go through the charter review. So the rules that we had before, it was simple, less than 6 months. You're appointed to the seat. More than 6 months, you're elected to the seat. That's how it used to be. So now it's, if it's less than 12 months, you get appointed within 45 days, no matter what time of the year it is. It just so happens that that is coming right around this time. So this seat will be held till the second Sunday, I believe, in January at noon. That's a whole different way than what it used to be. It used to be within 10 days. It was right after the certification votes. Now, if I was sitting in the room when the council was bringing that up, I probably would have got up and objected to it and explained the problems that it's going to cause. We've lost 2 council people, and then we just lost another one, which was surprising to me. Glad to see that Mr. Copley's back. A little bit of my history is I was a state representative in District 41 when I first started out. That was in 2001. Following that, I served 3 terms from 2008 to 2013. Some of my accomplishments up there were bringing $1.4 million of money back to Coventry that the governor was going to take away from us when they were phasing out the car tax. Another extraordinary accomplishment that I had was the global recycling facility, and reversed the sale of that from Resource Recovery Corporation because they were going to dig a 95-acre hole in the Calvintown Road area of Coventry. So that's Calvintown, Hope Furnace, Johnson, John Franklin, Reed Schoolhouse, all in behind there. It took a little bit of work, but got it done. Served on an Economic Development Commission back in 2005. The first redevelopment commission that we had, I believe it was in 2009, and 2007, and that was the year that I became ill. But we did try to get some stuff and point ourselves in the right direction of getting the Anthony Mill done and the Harris Mill done through the tax credit program, the historic mill tax credit program, which still goes. Just bear with me, my mouth gets a little bit dry. I've also served on 2 charter reviews. Latest one as chairman, along with my fellow Mr. Copley. I do not work. I am retired. I have all the time in the world. And as you know, I do a little research. I think I probably told you that a few times before. And something that I'm not proud of, but something that I think moved the town forward, was ousting the former president for her misuse of the charter, and the former solicitor that urged her to abuse the charter. And we proved that when the people stand in this room, that they can make the town work better. So this is a growing council. 2 years ago it was a very, very young council. So there's a lot to learn. And I think a lot was learned in a short time, with all of you guys. And I have utmost respect for all of you. for doing what you do. And I feel I could probably be a great help moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Come on up, Russ Gilvery. Good evening.
Evening. My name is Russ McGilvery. I've been a resident of town since 1994. 3 of my kids are Okers, which is near and dear to my heart. I think it's very important that you guys pick somebody outside of the political process right now, considering there'll be an election very shortly, and let the people pick who they want. I understand it's a temporary position, and I will, if chosen, honor that position. In 4 months, I'll get up and go. As of next Monday, I will be fully retired from state service. Grandpa daycare, as my kids like to call it, will be my new full-time job. So, yeah, sorry. But I understand the process. I have a master's degree in public administration. I've been involved in the fire service my entire adult life. I'm an LPN. I'm a licensed practical nurse also. I'm a Iraq war veteran, spent some time over there serving the troops, and I think service is just part of what I do, and I'd like to continue it, if you'd let me. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And Laura Flanagan. Madam Clerk, you hear anything? Okay.
Laura in the room?
One more time for Laura Flanagan. And you're looking on Zoom for us. Thank you, sir. All right. We will narrow down to 3. Councilman Pasqua. Sorry.
I think her name is submitted. I think it's subject, it's still available.
Oh, I
for
see.
nomination. I wouldn't discard the potential. for
Right. No,
nomination.
that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. No, just as far as. Gotcha. All right. Yes, sir. Councilman Pasqua.
So I just want to make a few comments now that we've heard from 3 out of 4 of the candidates. So I've gotten quite a few emails over the last probably 2 weeks now about different people supporting different candidates. I've gotten emails for Ms. Boyer, I've gotten emails for Mr. Guthrie, and I've gotten emails for Mr. McGilvery as well, actually. I've also gotten emails from residents asking to not appoint anybody, and then residents asking to appoint neutral third parties. So there hasn't been any 100-0 consensus on anybody within the slew of emails that I've received. So I just want to make my position clear that I've been telling everybody this that has taken the time to reach out to me, and I appreciate the time that they take to do that. And so I'll state my position publicly as I have in email several times. So, and this isn't about Mrs. Boyer, and this isn't about Mr. Guthrie. Both have stepped up and stepped forward to serve their community and have done remarkable jobs doing that. You guys come to meetings all the time. You're on the redevelopment commission. You're on the charter review commission. You're both very dedicated, and you're going to be great people, whether you're in the council, if you get the opportunity to serve on council, both of you will do a great job. So this is not anything negative towards either of you, but both of you are opponents in a contested election, and the voters are the ones that should be deciding which one of you sits up here, not the council. A District 5 situation was a little bit different. Mr. Councilman Copley did not have an opponent. He was by himself. The choice was easy. It was clear. But in this situation, there is a contest. And part of that democratic process that's already underway is door knocking, meeting with constituents, stating your position, and learning what people want from you, what they want to see you do, and then learning what you stand for. And so that's a very important part of the democratic process that needs to happen. And one of my concerns with appointing somebody who's going to be on a ballot very shortly and who is in a contested election to this seat is essentially given the position, the title, and the incumbency of the office for just basically 4 meetings until an election. And it is an unfair advantage over the other person. This should be a fair election. Both people should be campaigning, door knocking, and talking to people. And the voters of District 2 are the ones that should be making this decision between the two of you, not the council. And if the council appoints somebody to this seat, they're essentially, and it could be perceived this way anyway, that we're endorsing a certain candidate for that district. And that to me is unfair. It's not our position to do that. We have a responsibility or a right to this. We do not have a responsibility or a right to decide the election before it happens. And I think choosing a District 2 candidate that's on a ballot, that's got their signatures, that is raising funds and registered campaign finance and doing all the things that you guys are doing, which is a very difficult road. I think putting somebody ahead of the other person for just 4 meetings is a disservice. And since we have 2 other candidates that are not on the ballot, I think the most appropriate move at this point would be put a neutral placeholder in that seat for just a few meetings until the voters decide who is the representative they want for the next 2 years in District 2. I'm not a District 2 voter. I don't feel that I should be choosing who is going to essentially have the upper hand for that district.
Thank you, Councilman. And this also might be interesting to note, just because we had a little explanation before on the charter. It doesn't appear the charter. Oh, okay. Looks like, yeah, let me just finish that point, and then it looks like we have Laura in. This is something that we made, the original charter obviously never considered the impact of an impending election mixed with an appointment. So, just take a note here that, obviously with the Charter Review Commission coming up, this may be something that, we need to look at, as this obviously is the case in front of us, and it's something we may want to look at. Did you want to finish your point, Councilman Pasqua?
Just because we're going to put nominations on the table. With what I've said, I want to nominate Russell McGilvery for the District 2 seat. And so we can put him in front of us going forward, and we'll hear from, if we have a second.
I second that.
All right. We have a nomination in a second. It looks like can we go back to presentations, Mr. Solicitor?
I think you can. I think you probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she did submit her application.
Yeah. Okay. So if you could let in Laura Flanagan. Good evening. Just state your name and address, and we're doing a little 3 to 4 minute introduction of. It's on the top. Oh, is it? Oh, geez. Oh, all right. Well. Yeah, no. Okay, too many former council people, I guess, on the Zoom. Hello, Councilwoman Capaldi. We will get to you another time. Okay, back on where we are. So we have a motion and a second. And then at this time, is there any other nominations we'd like to make? Councilman Copley.
Before we make another nomination, I'd just like to have my say. And I agree with Councilman Pasco over there, like 100% of what he said is completely accurate. And I really think that Mr. Guthrie has hit a home run by constantly saying that we need a charter review committee and a comprehensive one to really dig into the charter to straighten things out when these things arrive. So I'm hoping that the council going forward we can get that going with that comprehensive charter review. My dilemma is a little bit different, and I've always said this from the beginning. I will always do what the taxpayers of District 5 tell me to do. They are my boss, whether I like it or not. I have received more emails than I have on any other topic in my time of council. And what was kind of strange to me, not strange, but like a lot of people from District 5, I received about 13, 14 emails. I would say half of the emails I received were addressed to me from District 5 residents telling me what to do. And I responded to everybody. So it is no slight to anybody who put their name in. I am on the record, this is no endorsement. I don't want to really do this in this way, but I'm going to listen to the taxpayers of District 5 and what they want to tell me to do, and I'm going to honor that. If people want to read the emails, I have printed them out. If you would like to see them, you can do an app request. You can email me, and I will forward them all to you so you can read them for yourselves. So I just wanted to put that on the record as straightforward as possible, that there's no shenanigans from me or that I know that anybody else on this council.
Thank you very much. That's probably sounds about right from what we all got, you know, a dozen, maybe a little bit more emails. So Councilman Hool.
Thank you. If I can have a moment, I'll start with the emails we received. We all were elected, whether it be by one person or by 1,000 people who went out to vote. The number of people that showed up to vote for us that day are what got us in these seats. So we'd be remiss to not remind ourselves that the number of emails that we received, and we all were in those emails, the majority, if not almost all of those emails, was for one particular candidate. Nobody up here can say that it wasn't, because we've all read them, and that candidate was Ms. Boyer. I received one email for Russell, and I'm going to say your last name wrong, otherwise I'd address you by Mr. Russell. And I received no emails from Mr. Guthrie, no emails from Ms. Flanagan, and 2 emails to keep this as a neutral party. But let's not forget the fact of something, is the candidates who are up here outside of Mr. Guthrie and Ms. Boyer, they're not neutral. Mr. Russell is involved in our fire commission. We would be stacking our council with 3 of them. I support you guys. You guys know that. I have nothing but respect. I would be foolish to not think of that. Let's not forget the fact that those who speak up is what we should be doing. So Councilman Copley at the end stated that he was going to do something, but I was unsure what it was. But we have to keep in fact that Councilwoman Capaldi was also nominated, even after answering the question that she was going to run a race. So the argument that we're not getting involved in an election, we're not. The people of District 2 are going to go out and still vote for their favorite candidate, whether that be Mr. Guthrie, Ms. Boyer, or anyone else that decides to do this. What we're doing tonight is basing resumes on resumes, take position out of it, and let's debate the resumes. Let's debate a neutral party. A neutral party is Ms. Boyer, not anyone else. She's not backed by anybody. She doesn't owe anybody any favors. She's been here. She's been present. She's put the time in. She's put the work in. And appointing someone who doesn't answer to the taxpayers, whether it be Mr. Guthrie or Ms. Boyer, they both have to answer to their constituents when they're out competing for this race. The other 2 candidates don't. They can come in, they can vote, write blank checks, and they can poof, be gone, and it's like they never existed, and we're left to clean it up. While I appreciate everyone's sentiment, that's just mine.
Thank you, Councilman. Anyone else on this? Councilwoman Ionati?
I'm just going to say this, right? I know people want me to vote yes or no, but I'm absolutely abstaining myself. And yes, I have received emails for Scott Guthrie, for Brittany Boyer. A no vote says I'm against all. I'm not. I'm abstaining because I believe in the town deserves the right to vote us in, and we do not get that choice. The election's 45 days away. I believe that the town puts their ballot in the ballot box, and that's fair. And that's not, us not putting someone up here, because if someone sits up here and we appoint someone, they're the incumbent. I don't believe that's fair to an election. That's fair across the board. I don't believe any one of them should be appointed at the moment. We're 45 days away from an election. What I will suggest is that at the election, during the Board of Canvassers, while you're waiting for that time, and once they certify it, I would suggest that we let them come on council immediately and not wait until January. That would be my suggestion. So whoever wins the race is able to sit on the council, not having to wait until January. Once it's board certified by the Board of Electors, please take your seat. That's what I feel would be fair for everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, again, we run into that charter issue, but I see your point. You know, it would be similar to what just happened with Councilman Copley if once someone's in. Yeah.
Well,
5 days away.
well, again, I mean, it has nothing to do with this council, but the previous councils that were here, and nobody, you might have been on that council, I think, that charter change was put towards the voters who voted for it. So it wasn't just to let you know that the council gave it the option to the voters, whether they read the question. I think it might have been a little wonky, but the voters voted to make that charter change for the person to take the seat after January 1st. And usually it was the first meeting after the board, the Board of Elections certified the results.
Mr. Igliosi, am I correct that once the board certifies the election, that we would be able to have that person appoint immediately and not wait until January,
You would
correct?
still have that power if if you don't appoint someone sooner. Yes, you're correct, Councilwoman.
If we don't appoint someone sooner, but if someone is appointed, they would have to resign, and then they would have to
Right, so
resign.
it makes it even
Yeah.
sooner. So they'll be able to get on sooner, and it's a person who's going to stay with us and not someone who has to be in and out.
Yep.
And everyone has a right to run their election fairly. No one becomes the incumbent. They go door knocking and do everything that they're supposed to, and the town gets their vote. And if, I'm sorry if somebody doesn't like that, or they think I'm being ridiculous, but to me, that's a fair, free election, and I believe the town deserves their own vote at the ballot box. Thank you.
Right, yeah, I asked Mr. Igliosi in an email, he emailed me a bunch of kind of stuff, because I wanted to make sure, like, if somebody wasn't here, would it go down to 3 votes? I want to make sure there was still 4 votes, but the council, if it's, even if it's not appointed tonight, we can still, every meeting till the election, still revisit this, and if no one's appointed, literally, after it's certified, you can appoint that person to sit in that seat, and then they will get sworn in out of the 2 candidates in the end of January.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to clarify at the beginning. It's still a 4-vote threshold. If it's not met, we can't ignore the charter responsibility, which is shall appoint, but we also can't force someone into a seat, so to speak. So.
And I don't feel like anyone, I feel everyone should be wanting to run their race and door knock and run and get to know their constituents and basically run an election and not just get appointed before one or the other, because no way you look at it, it doesn't look like it's fair for either candidate. And that's not the case. And I don't feel that's correct, but anyone can get mad at me for that, but that's my view and I don't care. Thank you. And I wish you all well.
Understood. Did you want to say something? I don't know if it's time. We're going to have to call everybody back up, or?
Mr. President, Councilwoman, fantastic idea. Fantastic idea. I withdraw my name. I withdraw my name. That's a great idea. I'm all set.
Huh. Right. So,
I'll make a
go
motion.
ahead, Councilman.
I'll make a motion to appoint Brittany Boyer to the interim District 2 seat.
I have to second that motion from my constituents in my district who've told me what to do.
Yes.
For more nominations, I think, just for the record, the council should withdraw the motion, the nomination, and the second, if you respect Mr. Gilbray's request. You should, just so the record's clear, you're respecting his request.
Yeah, I think we have to.
I withdraw my nomination for Russell McGilvery for Council District 2.
Okay. In that case, we have a.
Withdraw my second.
Oh, understood. Okay. So, yeah, Right. So now we're back on. We have a motion from Councilman Hool, second from Councilman Copley
Yes.
for
My
Brittany Boyer.
constituents.
Are there any other nominations? All right. So we have one nomination. Is that a win by default? Okay. Oh, I see. I see. Wow, we are like breaking new ground here every day. All right. So in that case, we are back on the motion for Mrs. Boyer. We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Okay, everybody said their piece. This is obviously new for all of us. So we will do roll call. Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Pasqua,
So I'm. Is our IT okay? Okay. Okay. So, I think that the District 2 voters should be making the decision on who they want to represent them in District 2. And so whether it would be Ms. Boyer in front of me or Mr. Guthrie, my vote is going to be no for either of you because you're on a ballot and you are going through a campaign and you're in a contest. So I vote no, and I think either of you are going to be great council people when you get here.
Councilmember Hool,
I'm voting yes because that's what the constituents both in my district and without have told me, and that's what I got elected to do.
Councilmember Ionati,
I'm voting no because my constituents have also told me directly in District 2, anyone can request my emails if they like to, but a lot of my emails say no one should be appointed, and I'm going with that, and actually I agree with that, so I'm a no.
Councilmember Copley,
I vote yes based on my constituents from District 5.
Vice President Brown,
I vote no.
President Verducci.
For similar reasons that Councilman Pasqua stated, I think both great. It's just too close to the election. I really respect you both, but that's a no for me.
Okay, that's 2 in the affirmative, 4 in the negative. The motion does not pass.
I make a motion to table this to the next town council meeting.
We have a motion to table to a date certain. So we need a date certain, or?
It can be brought up at any time by the council. You can bring it up at every meeting as stated.
Okay, so I think as we stated at the beginning, we cannot ignore the charter, but as we talked about at the beginning, we needed 4 votes. We don't have it tonight. The item remains open for reconsideration.
And
Sorry.
that.
Go ahead, Councilman
when you
Ionati,
win your
Councilwoman?
election- Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
When you win your election, we are able to appoint you ahead of time and not wait till January. So that'd be November, right after the Board of Elections certifies, which is that 10 days.
That's only, only if it stays open.
Yeah. So I mean, you will be on
But-
November.
Councilman who?
Could I make a motion to table this until November's meeting?
I second that.
I'll go with that.
Only question.
Go ahead, Councilman Pasqua.
Great idea. The only concern that I have is that's almost openly ignoring the charter.
Yeah.
We're doing that.
Well, no, we are not because we're voting on the matter. We're not ignoring it, but by pushing it, am I incorrect on that? By pushing it off, knowingly pushing it off?
I think the issue is you could put it on the November ballot, but I think anybody can put it on in any meeting between now and then. I mean, I appreciate the thought, and I'm fine with it. I'm fine with whichever way the council wants to go, but should not prevent somebody who wants to put it back on the agenda sooner. They could always do that.
Well, our council rules dictate that.
Exactly.
It should probably be the second meeting in November because the first meeting won't be certified yet. So probably the second meeting of November.
And the intermediate, since we haven't reached enough votes tonight, do we re-advertise to continue the process to be open?
I think you could. Are you paying for that advertisement? Yeah. Maybe just post it on your.
Sorry, hold on. We had a motion. No, just hold on a second. Sorry, we had a motion on the floor and then I asked a question.
I was gonna say, I don't know what the cost of advertising. I don't know if the council just wants to keep it posted on the website, or you think an advertisement is worth spending the money.
I mean, just, I don't know if we should continue to advertise if the council's position is not to appoint until November 24th. I mean, we're just going to be wasting funds if we're advertising every week in the paper for no reason.
Right. Then we'd be stating that our plan is not to appoint. Our plan wasn't to not appoint. It was, we just didn't have the votes to appoint. That's my conundrum. I want to do this fairly. I respect both sides and the people involved and everything. But I don't want to open us up to a charter violation.
I can talk to the solicitor. If we have to advertise every week until then, that's fine. But I think it's just a waste of taxpayer money.
Do we have to advertise by the charter? We can just.
No, I would just say post it that it's available on your.
Maybe it's not the question of advertising. It's the question of, is it still open to apply to? Maybe I should clarify. Are we accepting other applications? Okay, that's my real point. Well, no one signed up. Yeah.
I think that's a good point, Mr. President, to indicate that the application period is going to remain open.
Yeah, and I think we can do that for free.
Yeah, we can put on the website. We continue to accept applications for the District 2 seat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if at some point, as Councilman Hool indicated, somebody wants to move it, there's only, 2 meetings between now and then? Three meetings? Yeah. So somebody wants to move it on one of those meetings, you can move it.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to table table.
I would say table it to.
Make a suggestion, Councilman. If you just put it on the table, you can bring it off the table anytime by notifying the clerk.
So make a motion
Does
just
that
to.
make sense?
Is this a lay it on the
Make a
table?
motion to just put it on the table?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So kind of withdraw my last motion to.
Don't mind doing that, just so that we're just being consistent. It's on the table. The council's indicated their intention. They're not going to bring it off the table till after the November election. But if somebody wants to, they could notify the clerk and be off the table to be on the next meeting.
So I make a motion to withdraw my, to table it. It's on, what was the date? Till November. Oh, to the next meeting. That was the first one.
Who made the second? Dueling motions.
Let's just start over. I withdraw my motion.
Okay, both Councilman Copley and Councilman Hool have withdrawn their motions. We have a new motion. Councilman Copley motions to lay it on the table, and do we have a second for that?
Second.
We have a second from Councilman Pasqua. Any more discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Next order of business, we have town council appointments for Conservation Commission. That is item C under item 6. We have a Conservation Commission. We had one gentleman who is withdrawing, Miles Provost, and we have Samantha Sargent, who was coming in, but I believe she didn't make it in here tonight. So pleasure of the council if we want to move forward with that one, or roll that one over until either we get, I don't know, keep that applications open as well. So I'll take a motion at your pleasure.
Motion to continue.
Second.
Motion to continue, Councilman Brown. We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. We have Coventry Land Trust. We have 2 openings and we have 1 application currently. Donna Sagarin. If you're here tonight. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Please introduce yourself and name and address for the record.
Donna Segrin, 6356 Flat River. I'm applying for personal investment reasons. I've lived in Coventry since 3rd grade. Went to Coventry High School, grew up here. My husband and I just bought a house out in Green. I've worked in the agriculture industry for 4 years, doing no-till organic farming. I've been hiking since I could walk, and yeah, I just really believe with all of that, that green spaces are our biggest asset, and I just want to be more involved with that.
Excellent. As we said earlier, we really appreciate it. So, it sounds like you bring a lot to the table, and we're always very thankful for people stepping up into these roles. Anyone on council? Questions, comments?
Make a motion to appoint.
Second.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Here we go. We have a motion from Vice President Brown, second, Councilwoman Ionati. Any discussion? Just to say thank you. Thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you very much. I think you're meeting on the 14th. So, yep. See you there. All right. We are moving on to the 3rd bullet on item 6C. This is a planning board, 1 opening, John Luca. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. John Luca, 6 Moss Lane, applying for the Planning Commission for Coventry. I am a landscape architect registered in the state of Rhode Island. Been in front of plenty planning commissions in the past, hoping to use my knowledge and experience to help the town.
That's great experience. Thank you very much. Councilman Hull?
I'll make a motion to approve John Luca to the planning board.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think you're meeting soon too.
Yes.
Tomorrow night. So,
I'll be here.
yep, pack a lunch. Study up on kennels. All right, that concludes item 6. We are going in order. We're going to go. Oh, do you have something? You're going to go on to item 7. Item A, we have a resolution for 667 Washington Street sewer connection. Our engineer is here. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Joe Levesque, Town Engineer. Seeking approval for a sewer connection permit for a multifamily residential structure located at 667 Washington Street. It consists of 5 units, 7 bedrooms. There is an existing sewer lateral that connects to the 30-inch gravity main in Washington Street. There are no known capacity issues with that line.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions from the council? Just my usual reminder, it's tough being in the sewer business up here. We are obviously deferring to your engineering expertise. It's probably something we need to get back docketed again. Do we? Yeah, do we have a sewer ordinance or something coming up?
And so be it in front of you next month.
Next month. So maybe, do we have a draft or anything now? Maybe to save some of this future back and forth during council meetings?
The whole thing is being rewritten.
Whole thing's being rewritten. So just while we're on the topic, just wanted to mention that. Councilwoman Ionati.
So will we be bringing a sewer board meeting back, a sewer board?
I don't believe that's our intention. We're working with the solicitor now to see what is actually required and what has been done in the past that is not legal or not required. So That's still in the works right now, but I don't believe the sewer subcommission itself is going to be coming back, but we'll get you the document as soon as it's ready.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Anyone else? All right. Councilman Hull.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2026-83.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. We are on to item 7B. This is Resolution 2684, approving back wages to Judge Belanger in his capacity as municipal court clerk.
This is in front of the council after the executive session we had last meeting regarding past wages due to Judge Belanger in his role as the clerk per the charter. All the documentation was provided in the package, and what he is owed is designated in the memo. It's approximately $48,000.
Councilman Hull.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2026-84.
We have a motion from Councilman Hull.
Could we add, subject to a release?
Subject to a release.
Motion from Councilman Hull to approve, subject to a release.
Second.
Second from Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay. That puts us at item 8. We have some ordinances here for first reading. And, oh, sorry, Councilman Pasqua.
Yeah, so we already had the first reading on this ordinance, I believe.
The first one we did, there was the plat and lot was incorrect in the first reading. So we have to have a new reading and a new advertisement. So that's what we're doing tonight. This is the Beard property in front of the new project that's coming
Yeah,
that he owns. Yes.
okay.
Okay. So no action needed, but I will go through the ordinance. This is ordinance 26-2021, amends the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances, Part 2, General Legislation from 2005. Section 1 describes the general legislation, Chapter 255, that this pertains to, zoning and official zoning map. Section 2, this ordinance would take effect upon passage. And as the town manager outlined, we have discussed the first reading before, but this is a correction and a new first reading for this ordinance 26-21. Next up is the first reading on ordinance 26-2022. This is Town of Coventry Code of Ordinance, Part 1, Administrative Legislation. This would be amended by adding chapter and sections, including Chapter 16 Trusts, and Article 1 Municipal Land Trust, and Section 16-1, which would establish the authority of the trust. Section 16.2 describes the purpose and tax exemption. Section 16.3 is the appointment of trustees, terms, and qualifications, changes the town planner to update to current employee description of Director of Planning and Development. Section 16.4 changes the number and the positions on the actual officers and the appointments. Section 16.5 strikes some language on rules and regulations and budget. Item B also adds the word budget. Item C strikes language on cost of appraisals. Section 16.6, authority and powers, is changed to, or restated, I should say. Item 16.7 deals with trust, property, and title. And Section 16.8 describes the disposition. And again, this is the first reading. And finally, our last first reading is ordinance 2623. This is, oops, sorry. I have this one. Going a different order. There it is. This is dealing with an amendment to our Code of Ordinances, Administrative Legislation, Chapter 15, Article 1, Conservation Commission. The Section 1 outlines that this is for the Town of Coventry, administrative legislation, specifically Chapter 15, commissions. Section 15.2 would change the number of people from 5 to 7. Section 15.3 describes a change to list the engineering and town planning offices. And Section 15.5 looks like a technical language cleanup. Section 15.6 describes the majority present as far as the full voting powers go and describes what consists of that majority. Section 15.9 adds some language for planning commission and also major land developments. Item C is minor land developments, and item D adds language for advisory comments. That was something that we alluded to earlier tonight. And the rest of the sections appear to remain unchanged. And again, that's the first reading for 26-2023, Conservation Commission.
Public hearing at the next meeting and second reading for action after the public hearing. Is that correct, Mr. Manager?
Okay, moving along. Item 9 is council business matters. These are carried over from previous. First item, this is the resolution for approving the bid to DeAmber Construction for the construction of the traffic signal at Hopkins Hill. When we last left off, I think we were waiting to see where this lined up with the TSA, so we have it again before us tonight. As previously stated, the developer in the TSA has established they would be reimbursing this cost, but we need to codify that this is going on so we can actually make the order.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah.
The contract with DeAmber to order the materials and actually build the permanent light. Again, the time frame is June of next year. So it will include separately is the temporary light. So that's approximately $100,000, and that brings us to Mr. Eden's 525 reimbursement.
Understood. I don't know who was first. Councilman Ul?
I'm just gonna make a motion to
Okay.
approve resolution 2026-71.
I'm
No.
gonna second that.
We have a motion, a second, and a request to turn the light on. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item B, this was continued from July 25th. This one we have already voted on, so we're good. We can move to item 9C. This was continued from back in July. This is awarding the purchase of castings, tubing, and erosion controls to Warwick Windwater.
Yeah, so this is the clarification for the two bids that were received for the erosion control under Director McGee. He's on vacation this week. So basically, this is just the documentation of the two quotes. This is describing the two votes and why we went with the lower bid for the erosion blanket. So this should take care of this resolution.
Motion to approve 2026-74.
I will second this,
Oh.
Mr. McGee.
Motion and a cheerful second. Any discussion?
I would, just the only thing I would ask is to please, I think we all made it clear, to not have our directors fill out bid forms and submit to the council.
Anyone else? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. All right, next up, item 10, public comments for undocketed items. Anyone in chambers to speak on undocketed items, please come up. And Zoom is working as well, so if you're on Zoom and want to make a comment, raise your hand. Seeing anyone in chambers, we'll go to Zoom, and please unmute yourself and name and address for the record, please.
Kathy Thoreau, 6 Helen Avenue.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Okay, it's coming up almost on a year since I addressed the town council regarding the buffer. That was supposed to be put up by 225 Hopkins Hill Road. And I'd like to know the status on that. We've already lost another. Over the years, we lost many planting seasons, and now we just lost another year of the 2 planting seasons for the buffer.
Yep, hold on one sec. Let's get you an update. Dan, this is on the buffer issue off 225 Hopkins Hill.
Yeah, I've spoken to the complainant, advising if there's any other concerns. There has been any other concerns. I'm working with the new owner of the business. He's not under any mandate or court order to do any of the buffering. The court order does not apply to him. So it's kind of a work in progress that he decides to improve the buffer at his pace. So still ongoing.
How can this be still ongoing? This has been years of ongoing. The seller had a duty to disclose to the buyer anything that would affect the property. The town did not put anything in the record for recording in the file against the property, so a buyer would notice it or see it. I don't understand how this can just keep being pushed.
The town didn't know the property was sold.
Excuse me?
The town wasn't aware the property was sold.
Who wasn't aware?
The town wasn't aware when the property was sold last January, whenever it was. We weren't aware that the property was sold.
Mr.
And
Perillo, you told me that the property was sold. You informed me that it was sold.
Correct. I didn't know January of 25 when it was sold that it was sold. That's why
And
there's,
yet-
there's nothing in the deed from the old owner to the new owner, including that Superior Court order. So I was advised by the previous solicitor when this came up that there's no obligation on the new owner for a court order that he was not a party to. So that's kind of where we stand right now.
Well, okay, so what about the 3 previous years when Dan Ferrara was the owner and the court handed down the decisions that buffer amongst the 6 decisions that the court listed that was to be carried out by Dan Ferrara, and yet the town lost years of planting seasons. And it could never be accomplished. It could never be accomplished year after year after year. Nothing was put in the file. The property was sold. How many people are on the LLC? Is Dan Ferrara still connected with the property? It just keeps getting pushed out over and over and over again. I've been so patient. We've all been so patient. I can't believe that this has been going on. Well, the appeal was in 2022. The filing was in 2018. Dan Ferrara moved in 2008. I mean, you're talking years. Years. You told me, Mr. Perillo, that you were the point person on this, and we always went to you, and yet it still keeps getting pushed out.
Mr. Igliosi, is there anything we can do to help this constituent? Is there any way to get this pushed?
With this, I think I had some contact.
I
on
mean,
this.
years seems a little crazy.
Yeah, I can consult with the manager and I certainly can report back, but I can't do it based upon nothing in front of me.
Is that something we can look at to maybe get it done before? I mean, you could probably still plant and it'd be fine for spring.
I don't think you should be making those kinds of.
I'm just
commitments.
saying,
I
if
think
there's
it's a matter
something we
of
can.
what legal authority and violations what violations can be filed and what that process will be.
Yeah, but
I
my
think that's
concern
the
is
real
the woman
question.
saying it's been years. I mean, years, I don't think that should be years. So could we look into that?
Councilman Copley? Question. I feel this kind of slipped through the cracks of the town, but this is for Vice President Brown. So when a commercial building is sold, the fire department or the Hopkins Hill would have to do an inspection of that place before it was sold to no? Not like a residential?
Not commercial properties.
Wow, I thought it was after the laws changed on that. Oh,
Inspection for the license.
oh, okay, thank you. So I know we've said this before, but we are going to catch up our solicitor on this topic, and we'll reach back out once he has time to do some research. I understand some of the bones of this, and I know it's frustrating going back and forth. That we do have to see what the town's legally obligated to control.
And that was back in November, Mr. Verducci, that you had encouraged me, and I expected projected conversations about the findings of all the questions that were supposed to be presented. And I did send 2 emails to quite a few people. Again, I would have to say to the council, to the town planner, to the zoning board, to Mr. Perillo, about some questions that I had had. And Mr. Perillo pretty much, I guess, I don't know. I don't know, Mr. Perillo, did you answer for everybody? Because I never got to have the meeting that Mr. Verducci had expected me to have. So a year ago, almost a year ago, it could be discussed with the right people. I mean, I can only push so much, and then I feel like I'm bothering everybody, but I try to be patient for so long, and then I feel like I'm bothering everybody. But nobody gets back to me or any of the other neighbors. So how do you do that? How do you do it in a patient and respectful way when it squeaky wheel? I don't know. Or you just get ignored by the town? I don't know.
As far as I'm concerned, the legal requirements for him to replace the buffer went away when the property was sold. That was the last direction I received from the previous solicitor. I will loop in Mr. Igliozzi to see if he has a different understanding of it. That's kind of where we are. I've spoken to the new owner. I've asked him if he would voluntarily begin to put the buffer back in place, anywhere from the 25 feet where the building is up to the 50 feet that's required. He told me he had just undertaken a new business. It was a very hefty investment, and he would try his best financially to move forward and be a good neighbor. That's kind of where it left off.
And you didn't feel as if there was a need to follow up with the neighbors who abut that property? You didn't feel that there was a need to go back to the council or to the solicitor at that point?
I believe I CC'd the neighbors in my last email asking if there were any other concerns that I could address for them besides the buffer, and I did not get any response back from the neighbors.
I know, they're all so exhausted from trying to fight this fight. But you didn't see a need then to go to the solicitor and say this isn't acceptable, considering that the town took action when Dan Ferrara physically took down the buffer. That's when the town said, we're going to take him to court because you cannot tear down a buffer between a commercial property and a residential zoned property. And they're all actually, even the commercial property is zoned residential. We know it's been grandfathered in. However, it was all zoned as residential. So when people purchase this property, that to them, if you looked at the deeds and the filings of paperwork, documents, next door was residential.
No, it's a continued non-conforming use that this whole thing happened before I got here. And met with you when I first got here. I was working with Mr. Ferrara to replace the buffer until he unknowingly to me sold the business to the new owner.
That was 3 years though after you, at least 3 years after you initially spoke with him. I mean, now we're going back and forth. And this is what I try to not do because it doesn't sound good and it doesn't sound respectful. I don't think a situation like this, where you need to go back and forth, he said, she said. I think that the town is liable to finish what they started. They spent money on going to court. A lot of time and energy. I would think that they would want to get the biggest bang for their buck too, which is our dollars, the taxpayers' dollars. So yes, Dan Ferrara sold the property, but there was 3 years, and I keep saying you as the town manager, and that's not fair to you either. The town itself has dismissed this whole situation, even though the town brought Dan Ferrara to court. And now the town has moved on over the years and years and years of this. And the people, the neighbors, the taxpayers, the people who can't go out in their backyards, people who've lost years of the use of their backyards because there's a commercial property, there is no buffer. It's totally exposed, and it has been over the years that Dan Ferrara tore it down. And I don't see why it shouldn't be on some type of priority list. It's pretty sad.
All right, we will get our solicitor caught up and within a couple of weeks or two, at least give you exactly where we stand and you and the other neighbors. And proceed from there. I appreciate your patience. You have been respectful and you don't have to worry about that. We understand some of these things just seem to drag out. There's a lot of legal stuff here that needs to be looked at. So did you have something? I think you can
Just
talk to-
for the solicitor, I'll address the solicitor here. I think what is, and maybe even the town manager, I think some of this, what is happening is the court order was never filed with the deed. It didn't run with the property. It's running with the property owner. The property owner sold. That court order is no longer. So it's almost like we don't have the ability because there's no court order against the new. The court order was for not for the property. It was for the owner. So, you know, I don't want to say anyone messed up here, but there was nothing recorded. It was before our time. So let's all get together and see what we can do, if anything. Just at least we don't set false expectations for the constituent. So she understands the real dynamic that we're against. It's not that we don't want to. It's it wasn't recorded. It's nothing we can do.
Yep. So we'll follow back up on that. I see another hand raised. Do I see? Is that a Lori Jean Smith?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I mainly want to say that I am very proud of the town of Coventry for their resilience to everything that this town has been through over the past few years. I'm very glad to see that we have a lot of diversity on the town council. And I'm also very proud to see that you're all willing to listen to your constituents. Whether it's good or bad, it's still in the right direction of what we need to have in this town. I know we have lots of opinions. I know there are lots of political parties. I know everybody has a different view of what we should be doing. But I think that everything that is occurring currently in our town is on the positive uphill. And that's mainly what I wanted to say. Thank you very much for working very hard and doing all of this out of the goodness of your hearts.
Thank you. Yeah.
I know that you get a lot of negativity, but I wanted to bring some positivity so that you all continue to do the best you can do, which I know you are doing, to
Thank
our
you.
town. And I hope that lots of people out there in the town hear this and maybe stop being so negative, and let's get the work done instead of pointing the finger. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lori Jean.
Thank you.
Any more hands on Zoom? I see a hand. Cheryl, please come off mute and come on
Cheryl
in.
Kane, 185 Reed Schoolhouse Road. I might have I think that when it comes to that 225 225 Hawkins Hill Road that abuts the Helen Avenue properties, there's probably like 20 of them over there that have now their properties will be decreased in assessment value because of that commercial business in a residential zone. When that was first put there, probably back in the 1960s, I know it says the building was built in 1929, but I walked by that building many, many times. It was made of those cement blocks. It wasn't that large. I know before I drove my son to a house right on the first house on the right on Clock Mill Road. It was not like it is now. The house that I used to bring my son to is now a dump. There is garbage everywhere, recyclable plastics, tires, cans, you name it. It is a dump. And then of course the property behind there is that commercial business. I think you probably could ask Kerry Kowalski about the background. I believe that Mr. Sandberg is the grandfather to her son. So I think she does have background of this property way back when. I know way back when they did not issue any permits for this because that business could not be enlarged. But as you will notice that probably around 2000, I think in 16 is when they started enlarging this property. So I believe that all the permits and everything should have not been issued. The town should have known that this was the issue, and Kerry Kowalski should have known. So I think you need to go back to that and see how this all happened, because it seems like the town is liable. When you check the maps, it says R20. So even with the property at same thing at 25 Potter Street that the people have been complaining about continuously, that property is residential. It is not industrial. If you check the map, you do a title search, you will see that it's a residential property. Those properties were put together when those homes were put there, and that's what that is. So that business should be shut down at 25 Potter Street. What is happening is the people are being bullied by planning and zoning because they are not enforcing all of the ordinances. As you know, I've sent you an email. I've sent you all emails. And Mr. Verducci, I do not appreciate you belittling me. Think you're a comedian? You're not. You are our president. You are to be respectful to whoever speaks to you and who you speak to. I am not a joke in this town of Coventry. I am a person that cares. I am not a Karen. I'm a care. But you know what? Everyone now thinks I'm a Karen because zoning and planning has not done their job properly. And we are all being bullied. Where you see these businesses in residential areas that make noise, that make smoke, everything else I have mentioned is illegal. So I would appreciate some respect from now on, because I know what I'm talking about. I'm not a moron, and I will not be insulted by anyone. Thank you and have a nice night.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Anyone else? All right. Let's move on to the last item. We have item 11, new matters. Item A, Narragansett Electric and Verizon New England. This is what, to relocate poles?
Second.
I have a motion to take A and B as a block.
I'll make a motion to take A and B as a block.
Yes.
And then we have a second, Vice President Brown.
I will now make a
All those
motion.
in favor? Yay. Aye. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Back on the block.
I will make a motion to approve the block.
Yes.
Motion to approve. Second. Any discussion?
Thank you for allowing us
Hearing
to do
none.
this.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. That completes tonight's agenda, I believe. Did I miss anything? All right. Well, we'll take a motion to adjourn. Oh, absolutely.
I make a motion to adjourn. Thank you all for participating this evening.
Second.
Motion in a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
All did.
Aye.